stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Halfway. An important point of the season. It's a chance to just put everything into perspective. You need to make sure that you know where you are, who your rivals will be for the second half of the season, and crucially, how important these points are going to be. It was a bad night for some last week. It was a good opportunity for some to step up to the plate. Championship gap back under 100 points. And a real championship battle is going to be on the horizon. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Donington Park, here with your esports broadcasting network, because we are here for action of your UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series, round 6 of the championship here from Donington Park. A track which, for the UK Sim Racing League, it's one that they would know incredibly well with how this place battles. It's one of the great tracks that you can find in the United Kingdom that's hosted every level, you could say, of motorsport. Jake Sperry alongside with Sam Cooper-Bennett. Sam, you know, we are in a really, really good position here with this championship. A lot of shaking up has been done over the last couple of rounds, and it is starting to showcase that this is not an easy championship to go out and win.
No, it's not, and it's really, really tightened up, especially after last week. And like you said, a lot of people stepping up to the plate, especially Martin Sampson picking up his first two pro wins last week, and Optical Blue absolutely sweeping the board. On the other end of the scale, Momo having a complete mare of an evening, and they have literally tumbled down the table with regards to the team points.
Yep, they have tumbled down the table, but on top of all of the work that has been done, that Momo team have had 2 bad weeks in a row. One good thing for them and their team's championship is the fact that there are 2 drop rounds available for the 2 worst scores throughout the 12 weeks available. So they've got that in the back of the pocket, which they've sort of eaten all into, and now they've got to have 7 straight races, which is really good, which is also worth talking about with the championship standings. We're just about 30 seconds away from the start of 15 minutes of open qualification. But that also proves true when you talk about the Ronin Sim Sport Academy, who are in 6th position in the team's championship, and mainly their driver 15th overall right now, which is Vincenzo Amico, because he's 636 points back. What's the key to that? He's missed 8 races this season, and Amico has probably been one of the most consistent drivers.
Yeah, Amico, since he made his debut, has been really, really good. I mean, getting those wins a couple of weeks ago at Mid-Ohio, really putting his name out there amongst the rest of the field as practice just coming to an end there. Looking for more again tonight. He is looking pretty fast, sitting in 4th in practice and looking to go any further. Another driver returning this week after missing last week's race, Pete Newman, back in the field, but he is just so far back now. He can't really think he's going to be mounting a championship challenge this late in the season.
No, he's when you consider that he's missed the same amount of races as Vincenzo Amico and he's 200 points back of him at this point in time, it really does set a precedent that Pete Newman is just here for the wins, is just here for strong racing, and is going to be, I would say, a persona non grata in terms of the championship. But we are right now in qualifying. 15 minutes, they get all of the time to start a flying lap, and they can finish it as well. On top of that, if they do crash the car in qualifying, they are not allowed to go out there and take a tow back to pits. If they do, qualifying is over for them, and they will not be able to go out there and set another lap time. What will also be key is some of the drivers who are unable to go out there and set their qualifying because they have penalties in the back pocket that they need to serve outright. Daniel Bristow, Steve Hefford, Larson and Hardy are the 4 that will not be able to go out there and set any times in their qualifying runs. They have exclusions from qualifying after incidents earlier on in the season. And of course, on top of that, Anthony Larson for the 99 Ronin Simsport team here, Sam, is also going to have to start from the pits in the second race of tonight.
Yeah, Larson had a difficult week last week at Summit Point, and it was just a very bad night for him in that Ronin Simsports car, and hopefully he can take this one on the chin and get some decent results out of it. Starting from pit road doesn't mean that your race is over, but it definitely puts you on the back foot going into that race.
I certainly agree. It's going to be a tough night of racing for a couple of drivers who will have to work their way from the back up forward, ride the reverse grids here, but we are out there on track. There are flying laps going forward, and Dan Hunt, the championship leader in the 07, is on one. He's gone through Hollywood, turn number 1, Redgate into Hollywood 1 and 2, and now down the Craner curves, the lefts and the rights out there on track before the very, very fast old hairpin. Never has actually been a hairpin corner. There's always been that slide right of about 80 degrees as you go on through, then up the hill under Starkey's Bridge and over towards McLean's Corner here. This uphill right-hander, very easy to lose out on grips. Try and find as much as you can. From McLean's, you head to Coppice Corner, up the hill, and it's worth noting Grand Prix layout here today, and not the more traditional national layout that these machines would traditionally run in the real world. So onto this back stretch, no Dunlop Bridge here. Of course, I think that's a big misnomer. I did miss that bridge, but it did cost them maybe a little bit in terms of trying to secure a Grade 1 license, and then through the very fast Fogarty Essex and on the run to the Melbourne hairpin.
Yeah, and it's run down to the Melbourne hairpin. You have to get it completely right, otherwise you're going to run wide and off into that gravel trap. As Hunt gets it get it slowed down nicely, take a deep line through Melbourne, and that should set you up nicely as they head down towards the Goddard's.
Yeah, Goddard's final corner uphill. Small little bit of plateauing as you hit the brakes. You've got to be careful about making sure that you have the car completely balanced going through, and now the charge to the line comes along. Dan Hunt setting the first time of a 45.1, but immediately behind it is Jamie Ayers who goes quicker, 44.3, 0.2 quicker than Martin Sampson, who is second in the championship at the moment, so doing a good job. Steve Cooley as well with a really nice time. He puts a 45.4 down, good enough for fifth at the moment, and Miko moving up then into third.
Yeah, good time for Amico there, and Samson carrying on his great form from last week up to second place. And Ayres, good to see him out in qualifying. Missed the qualifying last week and had a lot of penalties to deal with at some point, but really putting his name out there in this qualifying session, putting himself to the top of the board so far.
Worth noting as well, the latest of late additions into the race has missed 2 rounds of the championship this season. Andreas Katz is unable to qualify. He has an exclusion from qualifying from his last outing before the penalty, so Katz will not be qualifying the number 1 Top Gun car in this race, but to crucially see him here, he's not giving up that title without a fight.
Yeah, had a pretty it was another one that was very unlucky last week when he came back at Summit Point, and yeah, he came back. He was back at Summit Point last week. Had a pretty difficult night and didn't win any races. Got into a couple of scuffles, especially with Dan Bristow and Dan Hunt, but looking to have a better night tonight.
It's not the end of the world for Andreas Katz. Second, 7th, second, and a non-finish. It's a non-finish, which of course Dan Hunt also had one, so I'd say that's even keel for the course. So there's not necessarily the end of the world going on through with that little bit of battling going on. Cesare Rizzo now goes fastest, 144.042, 0.2 clear of Dan Hunt, making it a Doff Reality Sim Racing Studios 1-2 out there at this moment in time. Ayers back there in third. I'll tell you what, it has been very open so far in qualifying. A few drivers yet to set anything representative out there as Benison moves up with a 47.1. Littler, Vervaeke and Newman all searching for times. Vervaeke just jumping up there into 7th. He's third in the championship.
Yeah, Newman not setting a representative time here. He's all by himself out on track at the moment and is about 9 seconds off the pace. I'm pretty sure he's going to be looking to improve that one as he comes through Goddard's right now.
Yeah, he certainly will be looking to. 118, of course. He is part of Ash Sutton's team, the legendary 2-time BTCC champion. A 44.7 is good enough for 5th position right now for the Pure Sims esports driver. So Pete Newman, a little bit of work to do to chase on down. Maybe a bit of tow is going to help that, but at least for the moment, it is a pretty nice qualifying going through at this stage. So there is still an opportunity to improve. 16 drivers have set lap times on the board, and we also need to talk amateur category championship here with 8 minutes and under left in qualifying here, Sam, because championship leader in the AM category, Ralph Cullinan, he's not here. He's on holiday this week, so he's going to be giving that up. But to who is the next question, because you've got Andy Maxwell and Charles Kellyman, who are split by 9 points in the championship. They are 10th and 11th at the moment. And on top of that, quietly scoring his points, Alan Toon, 65 work guard car.
Yeah, Toon is a very, very much a surprise name up there in that running for the AM category championship, and I'm very happy to see him up there because he's quietly had a very good season so far, and yeah, he's really putting it out there amongst the rest of the field here tonight this season.
Yeah, certainly has done, and it's nice to see that shade of improvement from him with the way that he's been going about his business at this moment in time. We are looking at track conditions here at this point in time. It's about 10:50 a.m. in Sim, and it's overcast conditions at 23 degrees, so do not expect too much track change out there in terms of the temperatures. It's going to be a hard-fought qualifying where drivers are going to be getting as much as they can. But it is worth noting here with these qualifying efforts that are going out there here today, Sam, that this is a track which is known for being a little bit stricter with track limits, especially knowing that it's all grass runoff on the outside. You cannot go out there and track extend too much. There is not much there, as Pete Newman has gone quicker by 0.3 than Cesare Rizzo, first driver into the 43s.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about track limits right there, especially through McLean's and Coppice. Two very difficult corners to get right, and if you run wide, that will give you an off track. And if you get it completely wrong, it'll just spit you out into the wall. So two very difficult corners to negotiate on this track.
Two very difficult corners, two very, very interesting battles. Increasing time is Dan Hunt to a 44.2, and that's good enough to stay in third because Jamie Ayres is on a 44.3 just behind. So that all coming in. Maxwell improves now, goes to 7th fastest on a 45 flat for the Optical Green team, who are now up there in second in the team's championship, and promptly goes off the circuit there at Redgate Corner. So that is time left in the bank, so to speak. But there is still a lot to fight for right now, as Roy Viveka has just found 300ths over Andy Maxwell and jumps back into that 7th place.
Now, Viveka is another one that's quietly stalking the rest of the field in this season, currently sitting third in points as we came into tonight. So Viveka not only race wins, but still putting in the results he needs and keeping himself up there with a kind of a slim chance of getting into that championship fight.
No podiums so far this season for Roy Viveka. He has been a consistent finisher in and around the top 10. He has got himself one top 5 finish. That was at Summit Point race 2. So it really does show that Roy Viveka is someone who constantly is eyeing up consistent finishes, doesn't care that he gets podiums, doesn't care that he doesn't get top 5s. He is someone who is just very much out there racing his own race, trying to do everything possible to get time, to get points, to be a factor in racing like this championship can offer. Down inside the final 4 minutes and 20 seconds. That's pretty nice, I would say, at this point in time. And you'd say at this moment, it's all about getting yourself out on track, out lap, flying lap, and then maybe are there any improvements? Because it is going to take a couple laps. We've seen it so far this season to get the tyres up to temperature. Dan Hunt has just gone second.
Yeah, just pipping his teammate to that second spot now, and is 32/100ths of a second faster than Ches at the moment. But you know, Ches won't give that one up so easily. He'll want a faster lap out of this one, as he's right behind Jamie Ayres right now, trying to get a draft off him as they head up towards McLean's.
Yep, so that is definitely part of the work that Cesare Rizzo is trying to do. Make sure that he's got a quick driver in front that he can draft off, latch onto, and gain a little bit of time on. And that often becomes a very important point of these open style qualifyings. A lot of drivers trying to figure out where they are going to be in terms of their times, and I'm sure there will be a few drivers out there who are hoping that this will be a good start and they're able to attack early, especially when you consider the caliber of drivers who will be making progress through the field. You look at it and you see Katz, Bristow, Hefford, Vangal and Larson all there in and around. You can put Carl Hardy in there as well in terms of drivers who's pretty quick. Those 6 trying to make their way up through the field, that is going to be a nightmare to deal with in that first race.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be looking forward to seeing how they come through the field. Hefford, unfortunately, had a difficult run last week and didn't really come on strong until race 4. Just couldn't get away from the back of the field last week. Hopefully, he can make more progression this time around. As we look at Cesare Rizzo just coming across the line, he did get around Jamie Ayres. Is this an improvement for him? The answer is no.
And by a very big margin of 44.901. I think Dan Hunt has pulled it into the pit, says, I'm not going to get any quicker than that. That is me done. Best I can do is second position in qualifying. A lot of drivers hoping that they've got what it takes to usurp Pete Newman. But Pete Newman, when you consider, I would say, the usual characters of Katz and Bristow and the likes there who are not setting times, probably in a very good position. Amico surprisingly down the order as well on a 44.9. So maybe expecting a little bit more, was 1.2 seconds quicker in practice. Dale Benison improves then to 14th place on a 46.2, which is not bad for the work garden machine. This is going to be all about the final minute and a half. How good is your lap? How much can you extend this circuit out to be exactly what is needed for 4.02 kilometers?
Absolutely. And for those that are using miles, that's just under 2.5 miles here at Donington. One driver who's having a bit of a mare of a session so far is Andy Littler, not able to put in a representative time so far, 11 seconds off the pace here in qualifying.
Well, the good news is there's no 107% time, so he will be allowed to race no matter what time he puts on the board in the 2:11 machine. But it's one of these tracks where if you're not getting it right in qualifying, you're definitely not going to get it right during the race, and especially when you've got only 15 minutes and I would say not many laps to get it done. You could very easily be accruing 9-10 instant points through a race.
Absolutely, as he comes up through the old hairpin up towards McLean's, and not really got anybody to work with right now. We do have other drivers out on track now. Charles Kellyman is another one of those drivers here, Jake, that's looking to take over the points lead here tonight. Should he be able to get around Andy Maxwell? Both of them very close together in 8th and 9th in qualifying so far.
Yeah, we are running out of time though here. We're down to the final 20 seconds, so it's going to be a case of who will last cross the start-finish line. Dale Benison will make his charge. Mark Lutz here is in the grass at Goddard's, just slowly making his way around, and I think that's a drive to the pits then at this moment in time. Benison finding more improvement on that time. The checkered flag, though, is now out. So Alan Toon and I believe Peter Van Gool will be the first two over the line. Van Gool sets one lap out there. It won't count. With Alan Toon, a 47.1 remaining in 15th position. Then here comes Maxwell to the line as a 45.5. That doesn't get the job done. His teammate Kellyman behind is on a 45.1, but will not improve, so will dive down into the pits. Can Littler set a time on the board in the result car, making a run over towards the finish line? And the answer to that one is also a no, so we'll stay in 16th position for the moment. Cesare Rizzo out there on a lap. Jamie Ayers as well. Those two are going to be key. Steve Cooley, of course, is still out there searching for one final lap. So those three drivers are keeping eyes on. Rizzo rounding the final corner is going to charge to the line. Ayers is also going to try and do exactly the same. Are there going to be improvements from both of them? The answer to that one is no for Ayers. No for Rizzo either. And now it is down to Steve Cooley here, who is making his way to the Melbourne hairpin then to finish off the lap. The track almost feels like an afterthought down there in the certain sense that, you know, it's just cut off and it's almost like you've just driven into a car park down at the bottom of the corner. But up the hill you charge then. Towards Goddard's goes Steve Cooley. He's on a 45.3 at the moment. He needs to improve to a 45.2. Get by Mark Lutz in the Top Gun car, who is 10th position right now. The answer then crossing the line is a 45.7. Doesn't get the job done. So the grid then is going to stack up as follows. Pete Newman has got the Pure Sims car on pole position, a 143.713. We'll have Dan Hunt for company in second position on the front row. Cesare Rizzo then starts this one in third with Jamie Ayers, the first of the Momo cars, there in position number 4. Martin Sampson lines up fifth. He's second in the championship right now with Vincenzo Amico 6th, Roy Viveka and Andy Maxwell 7th and 8th. 9th for Charles Kellyman with Mark Lutz rounding out the top 10. Steve Cooley finds himself 11th with Craig Jones in 12th. It's then Dale Benison, Steve Hansford, Alan Toon and Andy Littler, the drivers who were able to set lap times. And then by I-rating, it will be Andreas Katz, Daniel Bristow, Steve Hefford, Peter Van Gool, Carl Hardy, and Anthony Larson, making up the 22 drivers who will be taking to the grid. 2 minutes to grid themselves up, of course, then, here in terms of the battling today. And it's worth noting, it's a fairly average run towards turn number 1 here, Sam. So this is going to be all about drive off of the get-go.
Yeah, and it's all about that, like I said, that run down towards Redgate, and if you can pick the perfect line. It's not the most perfect of corners to try and make a pass on. It does have a bit of off-camber to it, so you really have to pick your lines going down through there. It can cause a bit of chaos as well as they make their way down there. We've seen a lot of incidents happen in that first corner on lap 1 in the past.
We certainly have in a many variant ways, you could say, if that's even some English that I've just spoken. This is going to be a very interesting battle. You got the championship leader starting up in P2. You've got Samson there in P5. You've got, I would say, the big characters there towards the rear. You got Hefford, Bristow, Van Gool. You got Andreas Katz as well. They're going to definitely want to try and get themselves in. We're getting ready, though. Race 1 of 4 tonight, then. Here at Donington Park, Pete Newman is starting this one from pit lane. He got on the grid, didn't like something, and went away again. So it's Dan Hunt who will lead them, and it'll be 1-2 for the Sim Racing Studios team as they go on through. Nice start from pretty much everyone there. Vincenzo Amico getting a pretty solid getaway as they hit the brakes. They go into Redgate for the very first time. It's nice and calm as they go through. Ayers being challenged by Samson then in 4th position, but ultimately it is a nice clean getaway. They've all got themselves a start that they very much want to at this point in time. Dan Hunt, he is often known as Mr. Race 1. He is doing another good job. He got a good getaway as he just struggles slightly going through the old hairpin. Here comes Ayers.
Yeah, Ayers looking to the inside, coming up towards McLean's, and going to be looking on the outside here coming up this hill, and will have the inside line going into McLean's. It will happen now, but Rizzo going to cut his nose off through the right-hander. Very brave move there by the 47.
Yeah, Cesare Rizzo knew how much room he had. It's going on side by side as down the inside goes Steve Cooley, who slides it, saves it then at Coppice, and gets a little bit of contact into the side of Mark Lutz, and they're both going to go off the road and scatter through the gravel. No contact with the barriers, but Mark Lutz was seeing that the car alongside him was losing ground and ultimately does rejoin on track safely. So they've got that going for them at this stage. Some great movers on the opening lap, but again at the front it is the top 3 to keep an eye out on. Amico's lunging down to the inside then of Martin Sampson, who sees him coming all the way, and Amico now up into 4th.
Yeah, great start to the race for everybody involved right there. Unfortunately, Cooley and Lutz falling by the wayside. No serious damage, as you already said, as here comes Sampson looking to the inside through Goddard's. Doesn't quite get the move done on Amico. Amico able to hold on as they make the run down to Redgate for the second time here tonight.
Side by side for the race lead, Hunt and Rizzo, the two teammates. They'll know better than to have a bit of argy-bargy between themselves as they go through. Does Rizzo look to open up the corner on the exit? He does. Thinking about the inside then. They were very evenly matched in qualifying as they go side by side down the Craner curves. Through the big left, Rizzo takes a big wide line, has the inside at the old hairpin, but Dan Hunt on the outside doing enough to hold that place. They're bringing Ayers and Amico and Sampson into the fight, and now Ayers sneaks the inside under Starkey's bridge. Will be on the outside now for McLean's corner, which is the right-hander, but we've seen it happen already on lap 1, where it works. It doesn't quite for the moment, but again, outside will have to work a second time right now for Jamie Ayers if he wants to get it done for the race lead. They go into Coppice corner, and once more he's going to fight, and he'll have the inside for the chicane, and that might just be that. What a start it's been, by the way, for Katz and for Bristow. They are 9th and 10th at this moment in time, and now Ayers on the inside. This is why your teammates should not start fighting amongst each other.
No, they shouldn't, as the Momo number 46 moves to the lead now as they head down towards the Melbourne hairpin. And here comes Hunt again, looking to the inside again, not going to make the dive at this moment. Bit too early in this race so far. We're only 3 minutes in, so Hunt really does not want to sacrifice this race this early by making dives like that.
Steve Hansford and Peter Van Gool side by side through the Melbourne hairpin. Give credit to Hansford, making a great charge on the outside there of the corner, using the drive off of the exit. This is way down in the field and getting the move nicely done. A minute down is Alan Toon. Pete Newman is back there in 21st position, and it's all going on, as is Katz versus Bristow right now. It's turn 1, side by side for the lead with contact there, and they're all going to scatter here 3 wide. Hunt's in the grass. Somehow Rizzo's now got a chance to attack this one, trying to go through Amico now up into 3rd position for Ronin's Academy, the former pro driver, but now on the outside, has Ches got enough to sort it out? He does. Rizzo leads.
A bit wide through the old hairpin, but still holds on anyways. They head up towards McLean's again. And Ayres has got to do something about this here, because he has to go on the attack to try and get the lead back, but at the same time has to defend from Vincenzo Amico, who has really put his foot down now as they come through Coppice and down up towards Coppice now, sorry.
Yeah, up towards Coppice they go. The key here was Jamie Ayres was all over the curb at Redgate. That caused the contact with Dan Hunt as he buffed it up on 2 wheels, and just like that, it allowed Cesare Rizzo to sneak on to the race lead. Amico's not going to lift look a good gift horse in the mouth, so if I can actually get this phrase out, but at least for the moment, Rizzo's goes sliding there through that Fogarty S's, and that allows Jamie Ayres, probably the easiest to overtake he's had all race long. It's now going to put Amico trying to go and dive down the inside, almost makes contact as they now concertina up as they go through. A bit of side-by-side in the background as well, as Andreas Katz makes the move on what is Charles Kelly, when Bristow goes through, as well as Steve Hefford also closes up on the rear. We're in for a real treat there, as there's a big lock-up then from Amico through Goddard's.
Yeah, and there's really aggressive fighting going on at the front of the field here. And don't count out Samson and Viveka, they're right there as well. And Andy Maxwell in the running for this one too. But those optical cars looking strong again tonight, as they are currently occupying 5th, 6th and 7th on the field.
The top 17 drivers are split by 10 seconds at this moment in time, as again they descend down the hill through the Craner curves to the old hairpin here, this 80-degree right-hand bend, all in the grass goes Cesare Rizzo as he's trying to maximise the circuit here with this battle going on at the front. Martin Sampson's probably going to be the most interesting watch out of all of these drivers in the top 5. He is just watching and waiting for mistakes upon mistakes to happen from aggressive fighting.
Yeah, still able to hold on to the lead though. Rizzo really wants this one. Hasn't won since last season at Road America. Would love another race win here tonight, and is looking very strong. Really getting that draft off Jamie Ayres as they head down towards the Fogarty S's. Looking on the outside through this as they head down towards there. Not going to have the line. Ayres going to hold on for now.
Ches has had 3 second places and the 3rd this season. Here comes Sampson attacking the championship leader Dan Hunt on the brakes into the big right-hander then of the Melbourne hairpin's not going to happen. Behind that though, through is going to go Dan Bristow, gaining a place. They're through on Maxwell, and he's also through on Andreas Katz as well. He got a wonderful run out of the chicane, and that's what's propped him ahead. And Maxwell's still fighting here with Andreas Katz, and this is crucial because Katz will want to get through. Side by side for the lead they go once again here. Rizzo and Jamie Ayres controlling this race, these two from the front. 800ths the gap as they cross the line, and as they jam on those brakes once more, it's a case of Rizzo trying every which way to go through, using the chrome horn slightly there through Redgate.
Yeah, a bit of NASCAR tactics going on through there as they head down through the Craner curves down towards the old hairpin. Here comes Rizzo though. Big power move on the outside into the old hairpin. They can't go side by side through there, surely, and they do. Great driving between those two drivers as Hunt runs wide.
Hunt does run wide, but he's opened up the door against Vincenzo Amico, who slightly boxed himself in there. And Dan Hunt, absolutely aggressive, looks to challenge Ayres, goes really deep into McLean's, but he's going to wash out wide. He's going to go into the grass there, and that's going to allow Amico then to the inside as they try and figure out which way he's up at this moment in time at Coppice. It is Amico who finds a way through, but here comes the up and under from Dan Hunt as he looks to try and get 3rd place back. Side by side there is Dan Bristow and Roy Viveka. Bristow is absolutely going for it. Look at the wing mirror to wing mirror here. Hunt and Amico as they fight to the Fogarty. Yes, and it is going to be Amico on the front here who gets it done.
Great driving there by those two drivers, and Amico really putting the elbows out there as he went through the Fogarty S's. But here comes Hunt again on the outside down towards Melbourne. Is he going to get the big dive in? No. Amico has the favourable line. Look at Bristow and Sampson behind them though. Any wrong move by either of those drivers, those two optical cars are going to be right on the back of them.
This is a 14-car fight for the race win, ladies and gentlemen. Just put that one down in your books. We're over halfway through this race, and they have themselves about 6 minutes to go. Ayers and Rizzo are trying to break away with that battling that went on. About half a second they've got of a gap here as Ayers looks to muster a move to the inside, then in the Momo car, and ultimately on the exit they will remain too wide. This is what's going to bring the pack back together. A bit of side-by-side between the Cat Hefford and the Baker as well as they go through, but Rizzo on the inside. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Ayers has to get out of shape. He takes 3 attempts to get through the corner, and somehow they are all okay.
Yeah, and that's let Amico close back in once again. He's looking hungry as they're coming towards McLean's. As Dan Hunt under pressure from Dan Bristow. Bristow looking to the inside. Contact between Hunt and Bristow.
Hunt had nowhere to go. He closed up far too quickly onto the back of Amico, tried to go for the inside and shut the door on Dan Bristow. Ultimately, they're okay, and Martin Sampson still there, second in the championship in 6th position at this point in time. It's these fine margins that we're seeing. Somehow, they're all okay at the moment. Here comes Steve Hefford, by the way. He's trying to get through on Andreas Katz here into the left-right chicane here of the Fogarty S's. Andreas Katz lets him have it.
Yeah, and it's an unusually great position to pass there. Great place to pass through those Fogarty S's, and seen a lot of that happen here tonight as Maxwell looking around the outside of Katz as they come through Melbourne. At the moment, though, for the battle for the lead is definitely not over right now. Ayres looking to the outside, going to try and cross him over, coming into Goddard's. Doesn't quite have the room. As here comes Amico, big dive to the inside.
Yeah, left the door open, and Vincenzo Amico's got that drive side by side. They're 2 wide, 2 deep in the back as well, with Larson fighting with Kellyman and Van Gool and Jones for places and for points. It's 2 wide, 2 deep at the front as Bristow attacks Hunt, and now Amico stuck on the outside. Not going to get the job done then at Redgate Corner. Look at Bristow's run as he looks to try to attack. We're on lap 7 here of this race, and through the Craner curves once again. He's going to have to do it the long way at the old hairpin. Down the hill, he's going to have to work hard on that outside line if he's going to want to get it done. Uses all of that curve, all of the room, leaning on each other as they go through. And I think Bristow's got that one sorted here as he goes through the left under Starkey's Bridge. That is a wonderful move.
Yeah, you got the better run coming out of the old hairpin there and really powered his way up the hill past the championship leader. And now the championship leader has to watch in his mirrors because he's got 2nd place in the points right behind him. That is a championship battle right behind Dan Bristow right there.
Exactly, that's the key. It's Martin Sampson who will definitely want to just quietly pick off points tonight. A little bit here and a little bit there with an artisan's chisel in terms of taking points away. Through the lefts and the rights they come again at the Fogarty S's. And now making that run to the Melbourne hairpin once again. Rizzo in control in the 47. Jamie Ayers in 2nd and Vincenzo Amico 3rd. But remember, Dan Bristow started 18th today on the grid. 3 wide in the middle, 3 wide in the middle, and somehow it's still 3 wide on the exit. It's Viveka, it's also there, Katz and Hefford, and they're all scrapping at it so aggressively for place. And as they come to the next section, it's still 3 wide as they try and figure it out. And suddenly, Hefford just holds off Katz.
Yeah, and behind them there was an incident for Peter Van Gool. I think he got into it with one of the result cars. I didn't quite see who that was, but Van Gool having a difficult night already tonight.
Oh no, it was the Ronin car. It was the Ronin car of Cooley that managed to make, of Larson, that made the turn. So Anthony Larson probably is going to get a little bit of a misdemeanor there, but we're at 2 laps to go. Bristow fighting for 3rd here has just gone completely up and under here of what is going to be Amico. They're racing each other right now out of the fight for the lead, and you know what? Jamie Ayres senses it. He's going to think about a move maybe at McLean's. He's not going to get there, but it is Bristow on the inside in the fight for 3rd, and Dan Hunt was ever the opportunist, but look at how hard Amico's defending this podium here. He's done so well to hold on to that.
Yeah, the Italian holding on there ahead of Bristow. Amico really up for this one. He really wants the podium, really wants to keep those guys behind him as Hunt really looking for a move on Bristow. It's getting aggressive now. We're inside the last 2 minutes. Oh!
We are now. Here comes the charge. Another great run there from Dan Bristow. A huge slide to the inside as he now looks to try and get the move done here at the hairpin once again. He gets to try and shove out wide. Vincenzo Amico, no way you're going through. Dan Hunt now will try and search. Still Jamie Ayres looking against Cesare Rizzo. It's going to be a one-lap showdown for 3 different places. A shot to the back from Ayres on Cesare Rizzo. Amico still not giving this one up against Dan Bristow. And now we've got 1 lap to go here at Donington for this first race. It's 3 wide as Hunt looks to thread the needle on the middle of these 3, and he's not going to get it done just yet. Amico struggles again on the exit with understeer, and that's going to allow Dan Hunt to the inside in the fight for 4th place as they go down through Hollywood and the crater curves for the final time in race 1. You've got Sampson there at 6th to the darts, almost contact there over the nose, went on Dan Hunt. Vincenzo Amico, he held on to it, but Bristow from 18th now on the podium. Big slide, contact for Dan Hunt, and now Sampson down the inside. There's a turnaround. The championship leader and 2nd place come together. Sampson's going to be able to get going just ahead, I think, as they go through. And now there were 4 at the front, and still Jamie Ayres isn't giving this one up then as he looks to fight with Ches for a race victory. Cesare Rizzo has been fighting all season long for one. He's been knocking on the door, 2nd after 2nd after 3rd place finish. He wants a W, but Jamie Ayres might be one to ruin the party. Podium not secure either. How good's the run through the Fogarty S's? How are the nerves as you go through here as well? Bristow is absolutely flying to get up to the back of these. It's 3 now fighting for the race win. How good's the brakes here as Rizzo got a little bit of a gap. Deep on the brakes goes Ayres. He's not going to quite find it. It's now going to have to be Last Chance City over at Goddard, and this is going to have to be brave and deep on the brakes from Jamie Ayres. Send it as far and as deep as you possibly can. Rizzo trying to go through the corner. He's finally going to get one. Here comes the attack, though, from Dan Bristow. He wants to try and take 2nd away. Ches is going to get a W, and Ayres will hold on for 2nd.
What a finish to the race there, and Bristow coming on strong near the end there. Heartbreak, though, for Dan Hunt and Martin Sampson, but crucially, Sampson was able to get away and will pick off those points happily from Dan Hunt. So a crucial incident there. Sampson probably going to be the more happier of the 2 there.
Yes, but what will the steward say after all of the racing is concocted tonight? Because that is a huge moment. Sampson will get P12, Hunt will get P15, but there were some very important and I would say quiet finishes from that first race. Before we go over to classified results, what we are going to do, ladies and gentlemen, is go to our spinning wheel. We are going to spin that wheel outright. We are going to see what the grid will look like for race 2 here tonight.
And it's number 14.
14 is the number. Now, that's crucial because it puts Dan Hunt on the outside looking in. He'll have to do the same work as those he was with around in that opening race. So, confirmation of result. Cesare Rizzo picks it up 15 minutes, 58 seconds, wins by 2/10 in the end over Jamie Ayres, with Dan Bristow looking like he is in absolutely fantastic form there. 3rd position. He finds himself from 18th on the grid. Vincenzo Amico gets 4th position. Another solid finish from Vincenzo with Andreas Katz. How important for the reigning champion is that top 5 finish? He didn't look like he had the pace to match, but he definitely had some strong battling to deal with. Steve Hefford as well, 19th up to P6. Roy Viveka will take 7th with Andy Maxwell there in 8th position in that one, leading amateur in the field, with Craig Jones 9th and Charles Kellyman rounding out then the top 10. Peter Van Gool will finish in 11th after starting 20th, with Martin Sampson, Anthony Larson and Carl Hardy, who will take the pole for race 2 here tonight. And then on the outside looking in, Dan Hunt, P15. We saw that spin on the final lap. Contact with one Mr. That being, of course, Martin Sampson, with Dale Benison in 16th, Steve Cooley 17th. Then it was Steve Hansford. Pete Newman, after missing the start, can only manage 19th. Mark Lutz, Andy Littler, and Alan Toon making all of the finishes then in that first race of 4 that we have going on at this point in time. But as we do tend to do here at ESBN, your esports broadcasting network, we're going to get a chance to have a little bit of a chat with a driver. And we've got Cesare Rizzo here. First race win of this season. Ches, that was a very, very strong defense and one you had to pretty much stay alert for the majority.
Yeah, Jake, thank you, buddy. Yes, first win in race one, which I'm really chuffed about. As you know, I mean, the first race is always about raw pace. Granted, there was a couple of people missing. Pete Newman obviously disconnected before the start of the race. Dan Hunt, my teammate, he had a few unfortunate events, but I had Jamie Ayres right behind me, and I'll tell you what, it was hard going. Well fought and everything. There was a bit of contact here and there. He touched me late on in the race into the final corner, but yeah, there was it was hard fought, but really good. I'm really happy with the result.
Really happy with the result, but let's just talk about the mid stage of that race, because it looked like for just a moment that it was you and Jamie who were just starting to eke out that gap as everyone behind started fighting and squabbling for those minor positions. With a field as close as it was here today, how everyone was staying pretty much on the same train, how important was it just to stay calm and know when to attack and when to choose the move?
Yeah, I mean, I was fighting, and Vincenzo stuck with us till about lap 6, lap 7. And then obviously Bristow, I mean, what audience and yourselves, watch out for Bristow races going forward. The guy has got unbelievable pace around here. And he's obviously started at the back because of his exclusion from quali, and he was coming through. And luckily for us, I had a little bit of a gap on Jamie, and it just timed out right that Bristow started challenging Vincenzo, and they started to drop back a bit. And as you say, we started building a gap, and Jamie was behind me. And just when we thought we were going to get that gap, the contact happened with myself and Jamie in the last corner, and that dropped Jamie back a little bit. At that point, Bristow had got past Vincenzo, and everything was back up in the air again, and they were both chasing me and hunting me down. And at that point, after the contact, for me, it was just a case of hit your brake markers, be a little bit cautious, and just hit your apexes and try and bring it home. And yeah, I was very lucky to get it to the finish, because I think if Bristow hadn't caught Jamie as quickly, I would have been under attack from Jamie. So Jamie was also defending for second, which basically handed me first. So yeah, it's quite a chess game in that sense. But yeah, it is important to watch those gaps and watch who's where and what's happening, because sometimes, yeah, you do have to work together to have that final lap battle without the risk of losing additional places.
14th on the grid then for race number 2. You'll have your teammate right alongside you technically in 15th place. You two going to work together then to charge up through the field?
Absolutely. I mean, I very much play second fiddle to Dan, in the sense that he's right at the top. He's at the sharp end of the championship. So obviously the way it goes normally, Jake, for me and Dan, is that we do the first couple of laps, and whatever happens, happens. After that, we settle down. And if needs be, I'll stay in front of him and try and pick my way through. As you know, Ches loves an overtake. So if I can pick those overtakes and Dan can follow me through, if he's still around about me towards the end, I'll definitely give him the position, because he needs the points for the championship. But yeah, we'll be working together.
We'll be working together indeed. Before we let you go, shout out sponsors. Anyone you'd like to thank, Ches? A first victory in race 1.
Yeah, shout out to the sponsors, Doff Reality, and obviously on Dan as well, some experience. So my teammate Dan, and I just want to give a shout out, Jake, to two drivers that maybe don't get enough recognition in the form of Dale Benison. I'm not too sure if he's here tonight, and Ralph Cullinan. Both of them have come on tremendously well this season. And for the audience, if you're watching, keep an eye out for those two, because they're very, very dark horses in this field, and they can pull off some fantastic results as well.
Dale, of course, here tonight. Ralph is not, but Cesare Rizzo there, ever the gracious, ever a very good victory there in what was that first race. We are going to step aside, though, for just one moment here with your Esports Broadcasting Network. We'll be back with race 2 of 4 tonight at Donington after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series. It's the 6th week of racing, the halfway stage, and it's here at Donington Park for all of your battling needs. I'm Jake Sperry, Sam Cooper-Bennett alongside me for the ride here at ESPN, your esports broadcasting network. And it was a very entertaining first race that we had going on. And I'd say a lot of drivers pushing the needle to 9.95, but not over to 10.01 where accidents occurred.
Yeah, and I mean, we've still got 3 more races to come, and if the first one's anything to go by, then it is going to be absolutely off the chain, as they say. As this reverse grid is really going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons, with Carl Hardy starting on the pole, the winner from race 1, Cesare Rizzo, down in P14. But you have that mixture in the middle of that 14, where a lot of the big hitters are right there.
A lot of the big hitters very much are here at this moment in time, and it is worth noting that Carl Hardy has not set his number correctly because he's got the number 1 on his car at this point in time. So Andreas Katz gets bumped into the number 4 car for this second race of the evening. But we saw how you can go out there and make places and shuffle through the field. You have to be patient here today around this Donington Park circuit, but it is worth keeping an eye out and saying that this is going to be a little bit tougher than it was in race 1 to gain places, mainly because of that 31-degree track temp, which is going to induce more understeer as you go through some of the corners. Yeah,
and the temperature always does make it a big factor. I mean, I'm doing a lot of road course racing myself at the moment with getting preparation for Spa this weekend, but even on a hot track, it's noticeable to how much understeer you actually get. And even in these cars, you can get a lot of understeer. We've seen that a lot already. Van Gogh just going a bit sideways through, I believe that was McLean's, and yeah, it's just it's just a fine margin between temperatures that make it that much more difficult.
Certainly does. And you see where those temperatures do make a big difference, and that is part of sim racing here in the UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series, trying to make sure that you are in a very comfortable position. Of course, this is going to be an important second race, mainly because it is an official 9-lap long race. It will be 9 laps long between now and the end of racing we've got going on, and on top of that, it is a 25 minutes. So even if, let's say, a meteor strikes the circuit, which of course it can't because it's sim racing, but if that were to happen here and there were still drivers out there on track, they'd still have those extra 10 minutes to finish off the race, which is traditionally around 15 minutes long.
Yeah, 15 minutes, and we've seen so many times already since season 1 and all the way through season 2 so far. We've had a lot of action in just those 15 minutes, and that's what makes this league so great. It's just action all the way through, and I for one, I absolutely love it.
I absolutely love it as well. This is a really, really cool track to go and battle at. This is a really, really cool season to have really great battles, and I'm sure there will be many people watching, not just here with YouTube, but also on the iRacing portal as well, that this could be the series for them as they look to try and make this charge on forward. Session will advance. All 22 drivers that were there in race 1 are here in race 2, and we are going to be heading over to the gridding process, which will take just a minute, and we will go through the grid and talk about where everybody is going to be stacked up. So it is on the pole position, Carl Hardy to get things going, with Anthony Larson in second and Martin Sampson there in third. It's then Peter Van Gool and Charles Kellyman, with Craig Jones in 6th and Andy Maxwell in 7th. Roy Vervaker will start from 8th place, with Steve Heffer 9th and Andreas Katz rounding out the top 10. Following that, it's Vincenzo Amico and Daniel Bristow, with Jamie Ayres and the winner, Cesare Rizzo. Following that is Dan Hunt and Dale Benison, Steve Cooley, Steve Hansford. Then it's Pete Newman, Mark Lutz, Andy Littler, and Alan Toon, the 22 drivers then taking themselves over to the grid for this one. Just the one driver then to start from pit lane for this one, and that driver is the driver who starts second on the grid, Anthony Larson. So that is going to be key for Martin Sampson, who effectively starts P2 overall on the grid, and all of the work that needs to be done today to chase down some points and to chase down some gap, well, this is the prime time to get it. Let's get ourselves ready. Let's get ourselves steady then. Here from Donington Park. Lights on, lights out. Round 2 of tonight gets itself underway. A decent start by Carl Hardy, but he's immediately going to be swarmed here by Martin Sampson on this run towards Redgate Corner. He will look to the outside, try and get it done. Some pretty decent starts in the middle of the pack as well. Hardy very aggressive through the corner. Sampson's going to take that one as a freebie on the exit. Thank you very much. Peter Van Gool trying to follow in suit as well past the result car. Isn't going to quite get as much luck heading down the crater curves.
Yeah, everybody making it nice and safely through turn 1, but Sampson taking the initiative on the start. Had all the outside line to get it done as well, with Larson going off, and there goes Carl Hardy off on the exit of the old hairpin.
And on top of that, Newman's running to the back of Dan Hunt, who's gone for a spin. Disaster again for the championship leader. Off the road is Mark Lutz and Steve Hansford. On top of that, the old hairpin has got 4 different victims then. They're 3 wide. They're all in a pentagon in the middle of this field between Jones, Amico, Bristow, Van Gool and Katz. They're all figuring out. Katz down the inside now, and suddenly it is Sampson who leads. It's Hefford in second, and Kellyman is there in third position. What a scrap we're on, and a slowdown for Cesare Rizzo. The worst time to get one.
Yeah, look at Kellerman really taking the fight to Hefford, but great start by Hefford, and almost contact between Van Gool and Bristow through the S's right there.
There absolutely was contact between them. Here comes Amico on Van Gool. He's going to pick one up. He wants to steal one on Katz as well. Down the inside he goes. What an opening lap. We've got ourselves privy to more sliding from Van Gool. He's really struggling to keep that MX-5 in a straight line at this point in time, but ultimately just about manages it then. Hitting the brakes, the 2 teammates then go side by side. Through goes Jamie Ayers now on Peter Van Gool, picking that one up. So a hectic start to race 2 to undice all of that. The big losers, you'd say, out of that, Pete Newman. You'd say a big loser out of that, Dan Hunt.
And Dan Hunt will not be happy to see his championship rival Martin Sampson leading this one, and leading pretty healthily as well, with Steve Hefford in second place. Hefford not really closing the gap at this moment in time, but still a lot of racing left to go here. He will have a chance to close that gap before this is over. Dan Bristow now up to third place. You know he's not going to let it go so easily.
No, he's definitely not, but Charles Kellyman here, who is the best amateur currently in this field, he's going to have to defend against some very, very quick drivers. Amico searching to the inside at McLean's. Wide goes Andreas Katz there, trying to figure out a move and a way through, but he's not going to get there just yet. He's going to have to be very aggressive through Coppice Corner. He's all over the back. He's leading on the back of Amico, and this is bringing the 2 Momo cars behind into play. All Momo cars right now inside the top 8. It's looking like a much better week for them here in this second race. And now you start to see here Katz having to go defensive. And of course, we all know about Germany's rivalry with Holland.
Yeah, storied rivalry, more so than the rivalry between England and Germany. But this rivalry between Van Gool and Katz stemming from last season as well. Those two had some epic battles last season. Looks like we're going to get the same here again today.
And same for Dan Bristow. He is looking to attack Steve Hefford here, trying to get by Hefford for what is second position on track. He's not going to get this one up. He wants to make sure Optical Blue are 1 and 2, but there will be a question mark now in terms of this race. Does Dan Bristow want a race win, or does he want Martin Sampson to go out there, pick up the W and challenge for that championship? Wide goes Hefford over Redgate Corner, and just like that, it is now 1-2 Optical Blue.
And you know Charles Kellerman is not too far behind either, although he's under massive pressure from Vincenzo Amico right now. Big dive into the old hairpin for Amico. He moves up to P4 right now at the behest of Kellerman. Great move there by the Ronin Sim Sports driver.
Great move, and because Kellyman ran wide, that allows Andreas Katz around the outside on the run to McLean's, and he gets the inside line sorted. Everyone behind in that train ran off the road. They all used each other as a brake marker. That wasn't the wisest decision, I think, in the world in terms of that little escapade, but at least for the time being, we've got ourselves a race on our hands here, not only for 4th place on back, but for the top 3 as well. And there'll be a lot of thinking about how this race is going to conduct itself. Kellyman again under pressure. This time it's Peter Van Gool trying to search through the Fogarty S's for a line of attack. And is not going to quite get there at the moment. The hairpin might be a different story.
Yeah, and Kellyman doing a good job to defend as Ayres takes a look on his teammate going into Melbourne. Doesn't quite get the run on him as Kellyman now on the back of Katz. Katz was on the back of Amico for a short while. While all these guys are battling, though, the top three are getting away. Samson, Bristow and Hefford all lockstep right now as they come out of Goddard's. Bristow looking for the race lead.
Yeah, Bristow's not going to play team orders, at least not yet in this season. So there is Martin Sampson. He's having to defend here against Dan Bristow, who just sweeps around the outside and makes sure that the race lead was never going to be in doubt. Now here comes Steve Hefford down the hill then, trying to get it done at the Craner curves, as now Martin Sampson's got no drive in comparison. Does have this inside left here, which can draw him back alongside, but he'll be on the wrong side of the old hairpin here, and Hefford on the inside comfortably dispatches of that plate. Good move up into second position as Amico now looks at this amazing fight for fourth and for sixth behind.
Yeah, great battling all across the board right now as Amico still just holding off Andreas Katz right now, who's still not able to make any progress on that number 78 machine. Peter Van Gool is now ahead of Kellyman, but Kellyman still not letting him go at the moment, but we call it Mr. Clean for a reason. Kellyman wants to make this race as clean as possible and just letting people by it if they get aggressive on him.
And this is the key to Kellyman's amateur category charge here, Sam, as well. Because you look at him, he scores 0 instant point races, and when he does, he gets an extra 5 bonus points for it.
Yeah, and those bonus points are really adding up for Kellyman as he's managed to put himself in the hunt for the amateur category championship, sitting in third right now. And with Cullinan not here, will look to move his way up to second place as well. So Kellyman really taking advantage of the situation right now.
Chairs all over the back of one Roy Viveka, who slid out wide. Rizzo just catching the back bumper and going for a slide all of his own. He's trying to fight his way into the top 10, and this is a very, very tough scrap because they're all the way fourth on back, thinking of top 10 aspirations.
That they are, as Rizzo still holding on to the back of Viveka. Meanwhile, at the front, Dan Bristow now starting to get away from Steve Hefford, as we have, this is probably the clearest lead we've had from Bristow in a while. Last week he was in a lot of scraps for the lead. This week he's he's getting it a lot more easier this time around.
I would say so. Dan Bristow got a really good get-to-go here today in the second race, and not really much you can do. I just think he's just been too good. He's been knowing where to place the car, and they're not going to fight against him when they're going to place the car like that. So Steve Hefford in second, Sampson in third. It's a really tough scrap that's going to be going on here. And also you got that fourth, fifth and sixth place battle, which is worth keeping an eye out on because consistent points finishing gets the job done. Katz and Amico, fourth and fifth in the last race, are fourth and fifth in this one.
Yeah, very consistent from both drivers as they're still battling coming through the Fogarty S's and down towards the Melbourne hairpin as Amico goes defensive, forces Katz to the outside, but Katz is going to have other ideas. Big dive into the hairpin, doesn't quite have the room though as Amico shuts the door in his face again.
On top of that, through goes Martin Sampson into second. Steve Hefford then leaving the door a little bit wide open coming out of the S's, and that was Martin Sampson just saying thank you very and much. P2 is mine once again. So still not long left in this one. They're down to just 4 laps to go. Lap 6, 7, 8 and 9 here in this race, and they know better than anybody else. They've got to be very, very patient over these laps, otherwise it's going to go away. Now I wonder here if Andreas Katz will attack or not in comparison to Amico. That gap to third and second is only 1.3 seconds, and that would be a very nice gap to latch onto.
Yeah, and just an update on Dan Hunt, though. It's damage limitation for him now. He's made his way back up to P13 right now. Just dispatched Steve Cooley, now looking to the back of Craig Jones. Hunt is trying to claw back whatever time he lost at the start of this race here, trying to limit the damage that Sampson is probably going to hand to him at the end of this one.
Same as well for Pete Newman. He's back there in 17th position. Carl Hardy in 16th. But Martin Sampson under pressure because here comes Hef. He's going to have to look to the outside, try and get it done. No, he's going to force his way to the inside. You left the door open, Sunshine. And now all of a sudden, it's a case of how much you're going to move. And look at that. For a bit of, I would say, race generalness from one Mr. Steve Hefford. He made sure he was going to take that line and take as much track as he needed to. And he's making sure again that he is the authoritative presence that is making sure he's got that move. What has all of that done, though? Well, Amico's now on the back in the Ronin car. Yeah,
Amico ever present once again. He is not letting this one get away from him at all as they head in towards Goddard's once again. And Amico would love a podium here. Just missed out in the first race. Is slowly clawing his way up as Rizzo going off in the background there on the exit of Goddard's.
Yeah, Cesare Rizzo's pushing a little bit too hard to try and get by Andy Maxwell. Was alongside there on that run through. There was a bit of contact between the two. Maxwell used all of the road on the exit as well, so there'll be questions about how much room was actually left through that section of track. But with 3 laps to go, all back together again. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. There are 2 spots on the podium. There are 5 drivers. It doesn't need that much of a mathematician to know that there are going to be some very unfortunate faces at the end of this race too.
Absolutely, as we are now on lap 7, 3 laps to go, making it 2.5 laps to go, as they are still battling strong here, and Steve Hefford still under attack from Martin Sampson as they came up through McLean's and through Carpus right now. It's very close. It's going to stay close until the end of this one, I'm pretty sure.
I agree. It's going to be a very closely fought battle at this stage. They go through the lefts and the rights, and Hefford is well over the curb, and that is a slide which is going to allow everybody to close in. Amico's got the best run of everyone. He moves hard over to the right-hand side. They all descend on the brakes at the Melbourne hairpin. Gravity doesn't help through this section, and just about getting a good run. It will remain too wide off for the exit of the corner, but the draft is all there for Martin Sampson. It's well covered by Steve Hefford. He is manipulating these battles perfectly to his advantage. They remain too wide. Wide goes Amico. There goes the Top Gun car trying to get through of Andreas Katz. But once again, it's a case of try and work out where the line is. And Katz on the outside is again going to fight now. 2 to go. Race 2 at Donington.
Side by side between Katz and Amico. Katz opted for the outside through Redgate. He's got that wing mirror hanging off there as they come down through the Craner curves, and still side by side between Amico and Katz. They've got to get this one figured out pretty quickly.
They absolutely do. Old hairpin. Still side by side. Van Gaal's trying to work out which way he can go. He's going to have to push if he wants to go through. Bump his way through and gain a place. They're losing ground 2nd and 3rd here at this point in time. But Dan Bristow, of course, still leads this race out front. You'd be forgiven for thinking this is the fight for the win. There's contact. Into the gravel goes Peter Van Gaal after contact with Amico. That will cost him all the time in the world. And now that one is going to be very tough to go and get back. But still, though, Sampson not giving up against Steve Hefford. He wants that place.
Yeah. And Sampson been very punchy as the season's progressed. He got off to a slow start, as I mentioned last week, to his pro series, pro category career, but has really picked up with his last 2 or 3 events, and is still showing that again here today. Really taking the fight to the Momo team and the reigning champion right behind him.
Absolutely, and that is Andreas Katz. There just behind. On the brakes they go through Goddard's for the penultimate time. The white flag lap here in iRacing starts for Dan Bristow, who is clear by over 3 seconds at this point in time. You've got these 4 or 5 now fighting for place here, with Amico just a little bit further adrift then in terms of this battle. Other battles include Ayers, Kellyman and Rizzo going at it, with Viveka and Maxwell trying to stave off Dan Hunt there in P number 12. But to the Craner curves goes Martin Sampson on his pursuit of a 1-2 finish for Optical Blue. Of course, the team's championship leaders, no look at the old hairpin, but Katz is still there, of course, and will definitely want to try and get through. Doesn't get the best run there on the exit of the old hairpin, does Andreas Katz, and it will take a couple corners now to try and bring himself back into play. Hefford's hitting all of the right markers to try and get through, but again, on the exits is where you need to be really good around this place, and that's what Martin Sampson's trying to commit to maximize to at this moment in time as he makes that run through Coppice Corner, and our Amico is back onto the rear once again. It's about this charge on the run past the old building there, which used to be the History Museum, towards the next left and right, which are out there in full display. On the brakes, Fogarty S is now all about drive, round you go, mounting the back is Katz, Amico's on the podium, and suddenly, just like that, all those points are being hemorrhaged away. Ayers is going to go through, and maybe Rizzo as well. Rizzo will go through on top of that. No such dramas at the front for Dan Bristow. He is proving that he is one notch above everyone else tonight. Watch out here, Victory Lane. This is a column that is going to be all his between now and the end. Dan Bristow picks up the W. Hefford will take second. Amico will jump up onto the podium. And look how telling this is, how it is going to be Sampson only just ahead of Dan Hunt.
Yeah, and you can tell by the way he just went off track there at the end of the race. He was not happy with how that finished, and he had a prime opportunity to gain a lot of points back on Dan Hunt in this race, and it just went completely by the wayside.
It absolutely did. It was up there fighting for third, maybe second position if he got the Fogarty S's correct. One small mistake, it's cost him 7 places, and it's costed him a heck of a lot of points. But before we take ourselves over to that classified result then, here from race 2 of 4 tonight at Donington Park, for the second time tonight, we will go to our spinning wheel. We will spin that wheel. We will see what that result is moving into the third race of 4 tonight.
And it is a full grid swap.
Now, this is huge because every driver has finished on the leading lap then of this race. So a full reverse grid will put Alan Toon on the pole. But let's get confirmation then of result then from this race. It was Daniel Bristow, 15 minutes, 52 seconds, who managed to get it done from 12th on the grid to move up to that winner's column. It is Steve Hefford who finishes it off in second position after starting ninth, and Vincenzo Amico picking up away onto the podium in the final stages. Andreas Katz will get fourth position with Peter Van Gool in fifth, and Jamie Ayers there making sure all the Momo cars finished inside the top 6 then in that race. Cesare Rizzo will take 7th with Charles Kellyman in 8th, Andy Maxwell 9th, and Martin Sampson ruining it by throwing it in the wall after the race in 10th position. Dan Hunt had that spin early on over at the old hairpin, was able to recover back to 11th ahead of Roy Viveka in 12th place with Craig Jones 13th, and then Steve Cooley in 14th position. P15 for Pete Newman might be a blessing in disguise. He'll be the best place of the quick drivers for race 3 with Anthony Larson in 16th and Steve Hansford in 17th position. Dale Bennison finishes 18th ahead of Andy Littler and Carl Hardy, with Mark Lutz and Alan Toon. They will be on the front row of the grid for that reverse, which is going to be bringing itself into play in the next few moments. But we are going to take this opportunity to go out there and talk with a driver. No better driver to talk to than the driver who's probably the most frustrated in all of this field. Martin Sampson joining us now from the Optical Blue team. Martin, we saw the throw into the wall after the race there. To say that you're unhappy is an understatement.
Oh, I couldn't believe I did that. Now that was really, really annoying. Kept up with Steve all the way to the end, and then just to lose it like that. I was pretty disappointed. Let's say that.
Well, positives to take. You still finished ahead of Dan Hunt. You still managed to claw some points back in terms of the overall championship at the moment. But You're looking at this one maybe early on. How good of a form is your teammate on at the moment? Because there were questions about, okay, you're second in the championship. Does Dan Bristow stay behind you and look to try and give you as many points as possible? Or is this just a case of we are racing, we are taking what we're getting?
We're just racing. We take what we can get. I know Daniel's quicker than me, so I'm not going to hold him up. Just a bit annoyed, really. But yeah, no, we always race. We race as a team. And that's how we keep going. We don't decide who's going to score the more points, and if you're faster, you go in front, basically.
And speaking of scoring points, full reverse grid then for race number 3. How are you thinking about your prospects? Because this is going to really shake everything up. A lot of drivers have a lot to prove in this race 3. Some who haven't had maybe the best of starts to tonight.
Well, it's going to be the first time we've had a full reverse grid, I think, for quite a few weeks. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I don't think we've seen that now I can't remember the last time we had a full reverse. So yeah, it's going to be. I think there's going to be a bit of carnage involved in this one. Then
Carnage could be on the offing, but before we let you go here, Martin, shout out sponsors. Anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, thanks to our teammates Optical. Enjoy racing with them, and thanks to you guys for doing the commentary.
No worries at all. Martin Sampson then getting the unfortunates there of 3rd down to 10th on that final lap of race 2. We're going to step aside for one moment here when it comes to the battling at Donington Park in the UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series. Race 3 of for tonight continues after these messages. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series. It's the halfway stage of the season here at Donington Park. 2 more races here tonight to go and get ourselves through before we can put one half of the season fully in the books. And it has been an interesting season. It has been full of ups and downs and pretty much all arounds to go on top of that. But the one thing we can say has been consistent this season, the fact that you have been along with us for the ride, and it has been an enjoyable ride at that as well. I'm Jake Sperry, joined alongside by Sam Cooper Bennett. Now, Sam, race 2 was important. It was a comfortable win for one Mr. Dan Bristow, who we were working out as we were in the break that aside from the DNF at Summit Point race 4, that in his last 8 starts, he's had 7 podiums and 1 DNF.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive run by Bristow, but yeah, it's just that one DNF he had in race 4 at Summit Point that's really put him on the back foot. And again, it's just the same tale as last season for Dan Bristow, with the fact that he missed the first event of the season and it's put him on the back foot in the points. If he didn't miss that first one of the season, obviously we do have drop weeks to come in, it would have been right up there in the championship, but still he's on the back foot again coming into today.
Here's the key though, he's only missed 1 round, but he's got a disqualification from Monza, which means he has to take that round, and he's got a non-start at Mid-Ohio race 1. So for Dan Bristow, he is very much in this title fight. I'd put him at favourite at this point with this sort of form, but the difference maker is Dan Bristow has some rounds that he has to keep, which includes the likes of a 10th and a disqualification, which is 100 points effectively out of the back of the van, so to speak. So he's going to be in a little bit of a hot water situation to the end of the season, but this is all about staying calm and picking up consistent points, and you can't be more consistent than 3rd and 1st so far here tonight. But 22 drivers as well, full reverse grid for this 3rd race. We heard what Martin Sampson thought. He was expecting carnage. I'll tell you what, I kind of agree with him at this point in time. These races are always difficult, and once again with a full reverse grid, Alan Toon somehow finds himself on the pole position.
Yeah, and again, it's another situation where somehow one of the work guard cars ends up on the pole, and couldn't have happened to a better person with Alan Toon picking up the pole this time.
No, I certainly agree there, but this is going to be all about battle. It's going to be all about drive. It is going to be all about results in this 3rd race, and we are into the evening conditions now here around this place. Track temperature is 19 degrees at 10 past 7 in the evening in sim time. It's about 20 past 9 here in the United Kingdom, wherever you may be watching this sim racing around the world. But now you've got to keep yourself really alert and honest in this 3rd race. How are you going to position yourself to try and get through, especially those drivers at the back and those as well who've been given a golden opportunity? And I'm looking at Pete Newman really as someone who has to capitalise.
Yeah, Newman's had a very, very poor start to the day here at Donington Park. Pretty much near the back of the field in both races. Is gonna have to really do something to try and save this event here at Donington Park if he wants to try and claw some of those points back that he's lost through the races that he's missed.
It's easy to lose points, it's easy to lose ground, but this is the stomping ground where we find ourselves with some great sim racing on the horizon. All 22 drivers are back and ready. Once again, we are just waiting for the signal that allows us the go, and I think that the signal is just about coming. The last order, as is traditionally done here in this sim by Steve Hefford here today. Anybody else, everyone then will get themselves a chance to go through. Everyone here, and now the session will advance itself over to the race. No more drivers needing to take themselves a pit lane start for this. They will all go from the grid as the checkered flag comes out then here at the Donington Park race circuit here. Of course, formerly some old tracks, one of the oldest circuits out there in the world here. Castle Donington, Leicestershire, England, of course, was around in the 30s and then revitalised a little bit later on. But the grid then as follows. It is Alan Toon on pole position, Mark Lutz alongside with Carl Hardy third, and Andy Littler in fourth, both full result. Dale Benison starts fifth, Steve Hansford in sixth, with Anthony Larson in seventh, and Pete Newman in eighth place on the grid. Steve Cooley, it goes from ninth to Craig Jones 10th, then it's Roy Viveka and Dan Hunt, Martin Sampson, Andy Maxwell, Charles Kellyman, and Cesare Rizzo from 16th. Jamie Ayres, Peter Van Gool, Andreas Katz, Vincenzo Amico, Steve Hefford, and Daniel Bristow. Your 22 here today. Just waiting on one driver to take to the grid. That is, of course, Pete Newman. And then once Newman is gridded up, we are going to be ready and we are going. There is Pete Newman. Lights procedure then will start here at Donington Park. We're getting ready. Race 3 of 4. Green flag underway. Little slow on the get-go from Alan Toon. It allows Mark Lutz immediately to pull alongside and will go through into the race lead on the run to Redgate then for the first time. Good start there from Steve Cooley and Anthony Larson. They're 4 wide into turn number 1. There's going to be dramas. There's going to be contact. Newman's going to get turned in the middle of this as well as one of the green optical cars gets spun around. I think in the end that is Steve Hansford. And again, disasters for Pete Newman.
Yeah, and it's another poor start to the race for the 118. Obviously, Ash Sutton's team, as you mentioned earlier, but a horrible start for him. But at the front, Mark Lutz has taken the initiative here. He now leads this race coming up towards the McLean's corner.
Yes, but he's got in tow Alan Toon and Carl Hardy. They're both going to want to try and stay strong in this one. Andy Littler comfortably in fourth. Off the road goes Dan Hunt. Littler's off the road. He's into the side of Benison. He hits the Ronin car. That's going to go around. That's Anthony Larson. Somehow they scatter around and avoid him as they go through. Littler spearing his way through the grass at the same time. Again, Dan Hunt with not the best run. And now chances opening up for a whole heap of drivers to charge on through. We were expecting carnage. We've got it. Now it's about how does this race go through, because we've got some great drivers making good inroads right now. Cesare Rizzo right now is fighting for a top 5.
And he is another big movers as well. Jamie Ayres, Andreas Katz, Steve Hefford and Dan Bristow up 9, 10, 11 and 11 spots already as Katz putting a big move on Steve Hefford coming through Melbourne, and he's going to try and move on Jamie Ayres as well. And there goes Martin Sampson.
Sampson then goes for a little bit of a joyride spin, and that will give some more points in the chances for Dan Hunt, who now has got to dig deep and charge. Katz thrown off the side of the road. He's going to go spinning as well. The reigning champion's in the wall.
Big disappointment there for Katz, and he got it all wrong on the exit of Goddard's, and now no damage on that number 1. He can get it going again. Well, he does have a bit of wing mirror damage, but that's about it. But going to be on the back foot as well as Pete Newman, despite that spin at the start, already back up to P15 because of other people making mistakes.
Well, sometimes you get a little bit of misfortune and you can get away with it. Crucially, out of the race then is Anthony Larson, and Vincenzo Amico has dived down into the pits with damage. So it looks like that is not ideal for Amico's start. I do want to go back, see if he has been caught for jumping the start potentially as he went through. He did. So Vincenzo Amico jumped the start, got a jump start penalty. That's why he's in the pits. Suddenly Carl Hardy leads this race ahead of Mark Lutz. So there's been a change for the race lead as they've gone on through. That was Lutz going too deep at the old hairpin, and Carl Hardy says thank you very much for a result.
Yeah, and Hardy getting away as well as Lutz is trying to hold off Alan Toon. Toon doing very well to hold on to third place, but he's got a hard charge in Cesare Rizzo and Steve Cooley up in the top 5 as well. Good start for him as well in that 87 Ronin machine.
Yeah, he's done really well. The I would say only Ronin car in contention at this point in time, but Rizzo has eyes on a podium at least at this moment in time. His nearest main challenger behind might be Roy Viveka. You got Hefford holding back Dan Bristow at this point in time, so you'd say opportunity knocking here for Ches to pick up back-to-back victories. Well, not back-to-back, but at least 2 victories here in 3 different races here tonight. So the opportunity is very much there as they go on to lap 3. Out of 9, a third distance score complete at the end of this lap. Little bit of looking here and looking there. Bristow again trying to get by Steve Hefford. But Hefford is effectively the personification of trying to pass or make your way through a rose bush backwards.
Yeah, it is, and like these full grid reverses really throw up a lot of tension amongst the field, and you can see why. Absolute chaos at the start of the race, but they've kind of got it settled down now as Cesare Rizzo gets it all wrong.
He doesn't get it wrong, he gets hit. As wide went Alan Toon. He drops back 4 places then for the troubles behind Ayers, behind Viveka, and behind Cooley. Cooley now attacking here Alan Toon in the work guard car, and this is going to be a very interesting battle up to Coppice Corner, as down the inside, thank you very much, Viveka's try and sneak on through as well, and he's going to be joined by Jamie Ayers as they now make the charge for Lutz and for Hardy.
A whole hornet's nest of cars right here, and Viveka trying to make the moves himself, and Jamie Ayres in that mix as well. Rizzo's got his momentum back as well. He's trying to make his way through. Toon gone from 3rd down to 8th now in the space of just a few corners. He's starting to struggle at this point. As there goes, wow, Dan Hunt!
Look at Dan Hunt! Look at Dan Hunt! Dives through a gap that does not exist and somehow comes out with nearly 3 places. He's going to go around the outside of Dan Bristow, mind you, and he's going to get it done as well. What a good move that is from Dan Hunt. He has been flying. They're 3 wide, by the way, in the pack a little bit further back here. You got Peter Van Gool, you got Andy Maxwell, you got Andy Littler, and Van Gool best out both Andys.
Yep, Battle of the Andes right behind him, but Van Gool out on top as well as we go back to this big battle near the front right now as Lutz is trying to close into Carl Hardy, but this pack of cars right here, they are leaving absolutely nothing on the table right now, just throwing caution to the wind and just putting those moves on that they really need to put on right now. It's happened almost side by side with Rizzo.
Yes, but you got Ayers side by side with Viveka for 3rd. Here comes the looks at the old hairpin. How brave do you want to go? There goes Dan Hunt. There goes Dan Hunt, spinning into the gravel, turned by Dan Bristow. Big moment for the championship, because that might be a week that is not going to be able to be dropped again by Dan Bristow.
Yeah, and Dan Hunt and Bristow getting into it once again, and they've been no stranger to each other all season. Remember, last week they came together at Summit Point. They've done it again here today. It's I've got to think the race stewards are going to be taking them to one side and having a bit of a word with them after this one.
It's a case here, really, of 2 desperate Dans trying to go out there and trying to be the hero of the Dandy comic, but it doesn't quite work out the way as intended. Still, though, you've got Bristow trying to make moves. He's going to get by Charles Kellyman here, the cleanest driver in this field, but Ayers now is going to have to really work the rest of these 5 laps to get back to Lutz and to get back to Carl Hardy. Carl Hardy is driving a fantastic race for a result at this moment in time, and they've got every reason to be excited with this. A reverse grid, and it's working well. There goes Ches down the inside. That's really aggressive against Roy Viveka, who left him all the space in the world.
They're good heads-up driving by Viveka to give Rizzo the room as they head down towards Redgate, and Viveka going to get another run on him into the first corner. Rizzo able to hold him off right now. But a quick word on Carl Hardy. I believe that if he can come away with the win in this one, this will be the first ever win for a result. If he can cross the line in first place, obviously still 4.5 laps left to go. He's got a decent gap over Mark Lutz, so you can't really count him out yet.
No, you can't count him out. Of course, Ralph Cullinan came very, very close earlier on in the season to picking up the right result, picking up the W. Cesare Rizzo now, once again, shades of race 1, attacking Jamie Ayres. Finds a gap there on the curb on the run up to McLean's, tries to go up and under's not going to find it, but they've got to work together here to move up to 2nd. They can't let Lutz and Hardy just run away with this race. They've still got time to go and pick these up, but they've got to play very, I would say, calculated racing at this point in time. Ches is not going to win first place if he stays there and battles. We know he loves an overtake. He said so himself. He's looking for the inside. He doesn't mind. He's going to fight for it.
Yeah, doesn't quite get it as Ayres at the inside line coming out of the S's right there as here comes Viveka looking around the outside and Hefford looking through the middle. Big move here coming into Melbourne and a big shove, and there it is. Viveka and Hefford coming off the worst of that one. Bristow going to try and take advantage as well.
And so is Steve Cooley. Look at this, 2 wide and 3 wide as they run up to Goddard's, and on the brakes they go again. Ches is going to get hit in the back. Hefford's going to turn him round, and he gets a secondary hit on top of that as well. And Cesare Rizzo's race ends up in a pile of smoke as he goes on through lap 6 starts. 4 laps to go. Here comes Bristow down the inside of Roy Vervaeke and will move up to 4th.
Yep, again, no team orders in play for this one as Bristow sails by his teammate. Now will set off in search of Jamie Ayres. But while all this battling is going on, Jamie Ayres has lost a full 3 seconds to Mark Lutz now, is very comfortable in second place. Carl Hardy, just as comfortable in the lead, 2.5 seconds ahead of Lutz now.
Here's the difference. It's a 10th that last time by for Carl Hardy. He's just staying so calm out in front, looking for no dramas around. Lutz, of course, in second position, but Jamie Ayres in third knows what is at stake behind. Bristow has had 7 podiums in his last 8 races. This could be 8 podiums in his last 9 if he can get it all sorted. Now, in the background, through goes Pete Newman. He makes the move on Martin Sampson. That's a big move because Pete Newman, after that spin, is inside the top 10 and he has eyes on that train in front of him.
And absolutely does, and we know Newman has the speed in him to get up to that pack, so watch this space as we've got 2.5 or 3.5 laps left to do it. So Newman has that clear space to get it done. You know Sampson isn't going to let it go easily as we're looking ahead. Vervaeke in a huge battle with Steve Hefford right now.
No, that's Dan Bristow.
Dan,
You've got Vervaeke just behind, and Bristow to the outside. He's going to try it around Goddard. It's going to be a drive off the exit then from Jamie Ayres. He's going to make sure the Welshman, he's not going to be drawn into too much then as they remain too wide, and they've pretty much let those 2 at the front get away. Bristow tried to get it done on the inside, and he will get it done on the inside. Here comes Ayres on the switchback, trying to go down the Craner curves and fight it to the old hairpin. This is a very, very tough battle. Tactical between them at every stage as they go through. And now can Bristow hold it off on the outside as they go on through. And there's going to be contact here. And there goes Dan Bristow through the grass. He saves it, but he's going to drop a whole heap of places. He's got to be careful on the rejoin as well. He drops 2 places. Cooley's going to go through to make it 3.
Yeah, and going to have a bit of rear end damage on that number 12 now as he rejoins just in front of Charles Kellerman and will be outside the top 5. So that's made his run for another podium very much more difficult. Roy Vervaeke, meanwhile, he's right in the back of Jamie Ayres now. He's looking for another podium here.
He absolutely is, but you've got there Steve Hefford. He's in the mix. Bristow immediately trying to attack here. Steve Cooley side by side to the Fogarty S's. They're going to go. I think this is going to be Bristow down the inside, comfortably getting the move, and does so there with that very fantastic drive. Still, though, that's not out of the woods because they are closing down in on Mark Lutz at this stage. Not by much, but enough to make sure it's still a threat. Newman now down the inside as outbreaking himself is Martin Sampson. That is going to be another result, Carl. That's Craig Jones overtaken. So Pete Newman here. He's sniffing opportunities. He still might be able to get a great result. Wide goes Ayres. Big mistake from Jamie Ayres at Goddard. He drops 4 places for the troubles.
Yeah, and that's going to promote Steve Cooley up as well. And Cooley having a fantastic race here. He's looking to get that win in the AM category. Kellerman not too far behind us. We're looking at a big battle here. Hefford on the back of Vervaeke. That could have ended in tears, and it does end in tears, unfortunately.
3 around. Bristow as well gets a turnaround. Hefford and Vervaeke all there, and it ends in total tears as they went on through. You thought it would, and it did, because that was Steve Hefford trying to keep that inside line. Vervaeke was never going to let him have it. The door was shut all the way.
Yeah, and Hefford's got to tire down. He's got a puncture on the right front there. He's going to have to try and get that back to pit road as he joins back in front of Bristow there. You got to think Hefford's got to move out of the way for this one.
He does, but we've also got battling Newman is up into 4th place. Sampson now trying to get away through here. He's trying to deal with Craig Jones. Can he go around the outside? Yes, he can at Coppice. So it's still on at this moment in time as the melee at the middle is still on. Kellyman fighting Cooley here for a top 5 or for what is going to be 5th place. So they are very much in the mix. Carl Hardy still clear with a lap and a bit to go. Ayres, after that big mistake, somehow still has 3rd.
Yeah, and you'd think you'd have lost that after going wide about a lap and a half ago. Still able to keep it up there, but Pete Newman does still have that speed in that 118, and he still wants to get up there, and you wouldn't have think he'd have had that spin at the start of the race by the way he's driving now. Great recovery there by Newman.
Oh, it's an absolutely incredible recovery. The fact that he's been on a real struggle over the course of the racing, and he's still going to potentially get a podium. That is the mark of a great driver who can just ride around all of the pressures around him and get the one result that is very much needed here in a race. Carl Hardy leading on the last lap's got 4.7 seconds over Mark Lutz. Ayers trying to hold on for that podium. They have completely distanced from the Sampson group now as he goes through on Charles Kellyman and gets the place as it's side by side for third. Newman on the outside, then into the old hairpin. He's trying to sneak one up and under, and they go to Starkey's Bridge. And as they go through this next left-hander, how do you figure this one out? He'll have the inside at McLean's if he can keep the nose in there. Jamie Ayres is going to have to try and fight this one every stage of the way as he tries to go through. Newman, so good. Ayres is going to understeer out wide. He's going to drift a little bit over the grass. And Pete Newman now up onto the podium on the final lap of this third race of the night. We expected it to be carnage filled. It absolutely was, in terms of how everyone has somehow, some way got themselves through. But Jamie Ayres is not giving this one up here. He's on the outside for the Fogarty S's. He's got a nose in front here as they go into the right and left. But Pete Newman commanding respect on the inside will pretty much call an end, a ceasefire to their battles. To the front though, Carl Hardy in the number 14. He's just kept it quiet, kept it out of trouble, got the race lead on lap 2 when Mark Lutz ran wide. And I tell you what, it was a case of you never look back. Results are going to get their first win of the season, their first win in the MX-5 Pro Tour. And it is Carl Hardy who will do that with a very, very strong finish.
Yeah, second coming across the line for Mark Lutz, and a very happy Pete Newman for third place. Very well deserved that one. Drive of the race for him. Great recovery.
Ooh.
Crucially for the championship though. Oh! Bit of an incident at the back there, but crucially for the championship, Martin Sampson getting a top 5 at the end there. Dan Hunt can only manage 10th place at the end.
And crucial for the championship, it is a disconnect for Dan Bristow on the final lap of the race that will demote him all the way back to P20 overall as they all look to cross potentially P19. But a huge disaster for Dan Bristow's title aspirations with a non-finish, so to speak. He'll be classified as a DNF, I am sure. But before we go to classified results then, after what was a wonderful, wonderful race, let's go for the final time to our spinning wheel. It has been a factor all evening long. Let's see what the final grid is going to look like tonight.
And it's number 7.
Oh, this is a huge grid. It is a 7-car grid reverse for the final one of the night. It will put Craig Jones on the pole, and pretty much all of the big names, aside from Ayers, Newman, and Sampson, they're on the wrong side of it as they go and try and figure everything out. Confirmation result then, Carl Hardy in the number 14 picks up the win, 15 minutes, 56 seconds, takes the W by 4.2 over Mark Lutz in the Top Gun car in second, with Pete Newman, some would say, had no right to finish third in that race, but the way he managed to recover back through the field, he absolutely deserved it. Jamie Ayers gets fourth, with Martin Sampson running out the top 5, gaining more ground on Dan Hunt, with Martin Sampson in fifth position, Steve Cooley in P6. It is Craig Jones who will start on pole for the final race in 7th, with Charles Kellyman in 8th, Andreas Katz 9th, and Dan Hunt rounding out then the top 10. Cesare Rizzo starts or finishes it off in 11th, with Alan Toon 12th from the pole. Andy Maxwell gets 13th, with Steve Hansford in 14th. Then it's Andy Littler in 15th, with Steve Hefford in 16th. Peter Van Gool in 17th, with Vincenzo Amico in trouble on lap 1, 18th overall. Bristow and Viveka classified as a lap down. Then Anthony Larson and Dale Bennison, non-finishers then in that race. We're going to get ourselves an opportunity to try and talk with a couple drivers, and, well, who better to go and talk to than, if I can actually drag drivers at this point in time, the first winner for results over in this MX-5, or this UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Tour, that being Carl Hardy. Carl, that, after the move from Mark Lutz to go a little bit wide at the old hairpin, was a quiet Tuesday night drive.
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, quite enjoyed that. I saw Pete though; he was coming, and he was putting in the times, and I thought, well, he'd be with me soon. But no, went quite well.
Very much did, especially when you consider as well that it is one of the first, if not the first, amateur victories over the course of the season, or as things go. But for you in the number 14 machine, it's a tough battle out there with the result. You've got a lot of drivers up there in the amateur category championship fighting in and around for positions. How did that for you feel in terms of a big statement result that, you know, the result team can go out there and can challenge, and if the right circumstances fall their way, it is going to be a victory?
It's all luck of the draw, isn't it? I know there was a few crashes going on behind as well. So all of that included, you know, I mean, I'm sure if there wasn't the accidents, I probably wouldn't have held on to it. So you know what? They did crash. I did hold on to it. I'm only here just filling in for Mick while he's injured. So yeah, happy days. Well done result.
Well, happy days indeed. I'm pretty sure you'd want to keep your seat after a race like this. And good news for you, it's a 7-car reverse grid for the final race of the night. So you've got another box seat start for you.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I mean, I'm not used to the car, so every time in the car is new to me. So I'm used to the TCR. So yeah, obviously this is completely different.
Well, difference is very much there, and the result is very much yours. Before we let you go, Carl, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
It's just all to the result lads. Obviously, Steve, Jamie, all the Momo lads for running it. It's just everyone included, all the drivers. Everybody's a good bunch. So, no, thank you to everyone and yourselves.
No worries at all. Carl Hardy there picks up a big race victory there in terms of the result. But for the final time tonight, we're going to step aside here with ESPN, your esports broadcasting network. We'll be back with the final race of the night after this. For the final time tonight, welcome back to the UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series. Some wonderful battling has been going on, and some crazy battling has been going on top of that. Carl Hardy stepping in as a fill-in, gets a victory in the series, and a pretty important one on top of that. We have been keeping an eye out on the points overall in terms of the season, and it has been a very interesting point to keep in mind as things have been going on, that although it has been a tough round, a tough bit of racing for the likes of Dan Hunt tonight, he's only got one top 10 finish, and that finish was 10th place. It's not really losing too much ground. Yes, it's coming down. It's down to 54 points, but again, it's just the fact that you've got some very, very tough battles, and the points, when you really get down there, there isn't that much difference.
Not at all, and the most interesting battle we're seeing right now is actually in the AM category, where Charles Kellyman and Andy Maxwell, race by race, they are actually bouncing up and down between each other. At the moment, it's Charles Kellyman leading by 3 points, but anything could happen in this final race, and Maxwell could be back on top again.
And what's important as well about this final race here, Sam, of course, Jake Sperry, Sam Cooper-Bennett here at ESPN. The final race is going to be really important because it's such a small reverse grid.
Yeah, only 7 swapping around this time around, and Craig Jones on the pole for this one, and that leaves all those drivers that were battling at the top of the field, especially Pete Newman, who got a podium. He's going to be right up there as well, so we've got to watch out for that that number 118, because he is going to be right on it from the green flag onwards.
Yeah, speaking of on it from the green flag onwards, Charles Kellyman, 3 points clear now in the AM category championship. Alan Toon at 76 back. Andy Maxwell, of course, is the driver, 3 points back. Optical Green getting a little bit of a hold on it at the moment, but remember, Ralph Cullinan is using a drop round here and will be able to close back up in this championship fight to gain some more points.
Yeah, obviously Momo having a much stronger night tonight, and they've put themselves back up into second place, still quite a ways behind Optical Blue, who are still dominating the proceedings in these races. Momo have stepped up a level, but they need to step up a tiny little bit more to try and close that gap to the Optical Blue team.
And it's the closing of that gap which becomes very crucial. They are still 800 points back, so a lot of points still there to be scored at this moment. But final race here at Donington Park next week is also going to be a challenge here as well, and we'll talk about this very briefly. Watkins Glen Classic Boot, Draft Track Central.
Yeah, and it's again, like you said, another challenge, lots of sweeping corners, and that long straight at the end of the S's right there. They're not using the bus stop chicane, they're actually going the whole length of that straight. That's why we're going to see a lot of drafting, as we always love to see in these cars, and a lot of overtakes going into that carousel.
Yeah, the road to Long Beach, California continues here in the UK Sim Racing MX-5 Pro Series. That is where our season finale is going to be, approximately 7 weeks from now, as we get things all sorted. We are in these, I would say, final stages now of everything being all nicely sorted out. So eventually, when it is all going to be nicely ready, we're going to put ourselves into a position to say, you know what, it is time to go. We got some great work going on. And I tell you what, it is interesting to see how consistency has proven to be a huge value over the course of the action that we have had. So, only a handful of drivers to be able to 100% all finishes this season. One of them is Martin Sampson, and Roy Viveka is technically one of them, but finishing a lap down and technically not finishing, not brilliant. Lights are on here, of course, headlamps in early morning conditions to finish things off. 18 degrees here at what is 5:20 in the morning. So effectively, it's the morning after the night before. We are just about ready then to move on over to racing here from this fantastic Donington Park circuit. Everyone given a little bit more time to sort everything out, but it looks like we are going to be in a position where we are ready to go. So at least for the moment here, checkered flag now is out. We will move over to the next session, and they will have a minute to grid up. All drivers will be taking to that starting grid, and this is how they are all going to line up then for this final race of the night. We are missing one driver, but Craig Jones is on the pole position then, with Steve Cooley alongside. It's then Martin Sampson and Jamie Ayres, Pete Newman in 5th, and Mark Lutz 6th. It's following that, Carl Hardy and Charles Kellyman with Andreas Katz and Dan Hunt. It's then Cesare Rizzo, Alan Toon, Andy Maxwell, Steve Hansford, Andy Littler. It's then Steve Hefford, Peter Van Gool, Vincenzo Amico, Daniel Bristow, Roy Vega, and Anthony Larson. So it is Dale Bennison we are missing then from this field. Just the one driver to take a grid slot, and then we are ready to go. And that driver is Roy Viveka in 20th position on the grid. You'd normally tell who he is by the blue roll bars of the blue optical team. 10 seconds getting all of the final checks on. He's on the grid. Final race then of the night. Mark this down in the calendar. This is a big one. Jones on the front then. He'll have alongside him a very, very hungry bunch. And there's the green and there's the go. It's a slow start from Sampson. It's a great start there by Pete Newman as the charge goes through. And 3 wide, there's contact. There's contact. Round goes Jamie Ayres. Immediately it's happened. Ayres there on the pit exit. They all scramble around to avoid it. And just like that, it's a case of they've all managed to just about get through apart from Ayres. A disaster start for the Welshman.
Yeah, he doesn't get any serious damage and is able to keep it going as we go through the crane of curves, and there's a battle near the back there. Dan Hunt and Cesare Rizzo trying to get around Steve Hansford right now to go for the big crash. Sampson's involved.
Oh, it's a huge hit. Lutz is caught up in it. One of the optical cars in. Big hit for Bristow, who went, if in doubt, flat out. He went McRae style into all of them. A big, big jump at the old hairpin.
Yeah, and it's the same as it's exactly the same as what we saw last week at Summit Point in race 4. Just a lot of carnage among the field right there, and shockingly enough, amongst all the carnage, one driver's been able to get away. Steve Cooley out to a pretty big lead now, coming down towards the S's.
Yeah, Cooley got through in the race lead at the old hairpin after a mistake from Craig Jones, who was very lucky to keep the car in a straight line, actually. Pete Newman in 3rd, Carl Hardy 4th. Andreas Katz is up to 5th. Dan Hunt now is up to 6th, and Hefford's gone around.
Yeah, big problems for Hefford, but still keeps it going anyway, as there goes Steve Hansford around him. And it's going to be Maxwell going by him as well. Actually, no, Hefford's going to say, no, I'll let one of you by. I'm not going to let the other one by as well.
Yeah, that's definitely the case, and all these battles are going to be important. Dan Hunt spins it. Dan Hunt spins it at Goddard, so lap 1 full of dramas. Hunt's going to use the national layout to get himself back going again, and now he's behind Andy Maxwell. What a torrid night for Dan Hunt. The only solace he'll have is that he'll gain points now on a non-finishing for the first time this season, Martin Sampson.
Yeah, and he got it all wrong with trying an outside pass on Andreas Katz, and it didn't work out for him. Just lost the back end going through Goddard. He's back up and running again, but just like Steve Hefford, he's now having to fight his way past those 2 optical green cars.
Pete Newman now up into 2nd position, gets the move done on Craig Jones with a little bit of grass on the exit on top of that. Van Gool heavily in the grass. He tries to recover. He allows Viveka the chance to go through then, as they all manage to sort a couple of things out here and there, and a bit of side-by-side behind us. Hansford and Maxwell, the 2 optical green cars, battling at it for place, and it is going to be Maxwell, who's 2nd in the AM category standings, who will go and gain that place. Kellyman was caught up in that lap 1 incident, so Maxwell, very much most likely, is going to take the championship lead, coming away from this wonderful racetrack.
And he runs wide, coming through onto the Starkey straight, and down the straight he comes. Here comes Dan Hunt now. Big move on Hansford. Doesn't quite have the room into the S's, and has to wait for another corner at least to try and get around him, but battling going around. Big movers in the field though. Roy Viveka from 20th on the grid up to P7. Vincenzo Amico up to P5 from 18th.
Yeah, and those are very important places, especially for Amico and his championship effort as well for Roy Viveka. He needs as many points as he can lay hands on, and he is doing exactly that at this point in time for Optical Blue. So we are seeing some great points hauls coming in. Cooley leads this race by 1.6 seconds. It's Pete Newman in second, and it's Craig Jones in third. But for how much longer? Because, hello, I am the reigning champion. I am Andreas Katz, and I am down the inside through Hollywood and the Craner curves.
Yeah, and it's going to be a question of how can Craig Jones handle this. He doesn't handle it at all. He just lets Andreas Katz have it heading towards the old hairpin and just lets him by. So now Katz up to third place. Cooley has got to be sweating in his boots right now, seeing two fast drivers steaming up behind him as they are right now.
Not just two fast drivers, you got a driver who's arguably one of the quickest in the field, and a driver who arguably is classified as the quickest in the field by fact of being the reigning champion. So it tells you all you need to know. Here's Dan Hunt, by the way. He's trying to work with the Momo cars to get on through. Steve Hansford leaves the door wide open. It left completely ajar. He's trying to defend this one against Peter Van Gool. Van Gool's going to have none of that. He's going to say, know your place, Sonny Jim. I'm down the inside of you. And Hansford, give credit. Oh, bit of a bump as well. He's fighting really aggressively. Ayers, that's a freebie.
Yeah, trying to use the outside run coming out of Carpus and doesn't quite work out for him. As now we've got a battle between the two Momo drivers. Van Gool trying to defend from Ayers into the Fogarty S's. There's a bit sideways there from Dan Hunt. Keeps it going though. He's going to chase up to the back of Andy Maxwell. Not going to be easy. We know Maxwell, it has got a shot of moving up to pro next season.
He definitely does, and well, he gets well out of the way there going through. Looked like a missed shift, and that is going to be one position gone, and this might be two with Peter Van Gool. It might be a third in the not too distant future. Back to the front though, we need to go because the gap's 0.4 of a second for Pete Newman versus Steve Cooley. Now Cooley has every reason to defend this one because Vincenzo Amico is in P5 4 seconds back. He can do a job, hold back Pete Newman for a lap. He'd be doing a great service to Amico in the 78.
Yeah, playing rear gunner, even though he's leading the race and trying to bunch this pack up again and make a race out of it. But, you know, Newman's not going to sit back. He's going to try and take that position away as quickly as possible. We've seen this time and time again from Pete Newman. Even though he's chasing, he's not going to just sit back and wait. He's going to try and take that position as quickly as possible.
Up the hill at McLean's corner, and on the exit, this might be where Pete Newman starts to strike and bounce. Not a good enough run up to Coppice here, but will take an advantage here on the outside, really trying to carry that speed through the corner, and then you get the draft, and it's strong in these MX-5s, and Steve Cooley will know that here. Newman closing right on in. Will he look for the inside then to try and get a move? He will do, and that's going to force Cooley then to be unable to turn in. It was his right of corner, but Pete Newman's taking the lead, and suddenly, for second, Andreas Katz, oh, he just pounced on that. There was no way he was going to take that place ordinarily, and he's just stolen it away.
Like taking candy from a baby there for Andreas Katz. Just saw Cooley getting out of shape there as Amico has a big lockup going into Melbourne, trying to get to the back of Craig Jones there.
That's more than a lockup. That is some intense trail braking.
Absolutely. They go through Goddard's, not quite got the run on Jones as they come down towards Redgate for the 5th time tonight, and it's Pete Newman versus Andreas Katz for the lead. Newman does have the legs on Katz at the moment, but you know Katz is going to close that gap as soon as he can.
If he can. Crucially, within a second, which is what Andreas Katz wants at this moment in time. Your retirees so far: Cesare Rizzo, Martin Sampson, Mark Lutz, Charles Kellyman, and Daniel Bristow, all as non-finishers here from this race. And a big non-finish for Dan Bristow, who will probably have to take this race. On top of that, here comes Amico, though, looking to the outside under Starkey's Bridge, trying to attack for 4th place here. Craig Jones in the result car. He is the highest placed result car with Carl Hardy in 6th and straight down the inside. And, well, as easy as that, Amico, the former pro Stripe, is now up into 4th.
Yep, and now he'll go straight after his teammate Steve Cooley, and Cooley, you know, will move over happily for his teammate and just let the number 78 go straight after the leaders. But we've said it time and time again, catching is one thing, passing is another, and they've only got probably 4.5 laps left to do it.
4.5 laps isn't very much at all, and you've got to make sure that you are hitting all of your marks, and I'm pretty sure everyone is. The next battles behind are going to be interesting on top of that. Steve Hefford's found a way back through on Roy Viveka, and that one then is for 7th position. So Hefford looking to recover through as well. You've got Dan Hunt there in P9. Peter Van Gool in 10th. To really put this into perspective of just how bad of a night it has been here today for Dan Hunt as he slides through the Melbourne hairpin. He's currently in his best position of the night, P9.
Yeah, and he's been very lucky at the same time as well. Samson has had many opportunities to try and close that gap quite significantly here tonight, and has unfortunately been unsuccessful in doing so. Coming into this race, obviously, Hunt, despite the bad finishes, still holds on to a 53-point lead. Going to be extended by quite some margin after this one is over.
Yep, and a pretty big margin, we could say, on top of that, as through the old hairpin, the leading two go. They are distancing Cooley, Amico, and Craig Jones. I'm pretty sure Amico, as he runs very wide off the corner, would want to get by Cooley, move up onto the podium, get a couple more points, which will mean a lot in terms of the championship effort. Dan Hunt as well is looking for points, and he's looking for points pretty darn quickly here, because he is right on the back now of Roy Viveka.
Yeah, and Viveka very good at defending his position. He was not going to give this easily to Dan Hunt as they made their way up through the right-hander and down towards this very aptly named Starkey Straight. And obviously, as you mentioned earlier, missing that Dunlop Bridge, very sorely missed as they were trying to make transformations to the track to make it available for Formula One. But still, we still have the track after we nearly lost it. Very happy to see Donington Park still around.
Yeah, and I'm very happy to say that we nearly had the Simply Sausages British Grand Prix, which I am very, very happy to say would have been amazing, but ultimately is something lost to the annals of history. But at least for the moment, Andreas Katz keeping Pete Newman honest here. The gap was half a second the last time they crossed the line. The gap as they crossed the line now 0.6 of a second. So Andreas Katz slightly losing out by the hundredths and thousandths over that lap. But Pete Newman here is being forced to race really, really strongly by Andreas Katz. And this is the thing about Andreas Katz. He's not naturally the quickest driver in the field, but he knows how to race you. And when he gets into a zone and gets into a mode, Andreas Katz can race anybody in the world and could potentially beat them.
Yeah, and how many times have we seen this battle between Katz and Newman in the past? They did it all season long last season as they were in a championship fight. Not in a championship fight this time around, but still good to see these guys battling out at the front again, even if it's just for minimal positions at the moment.
Well, it's more than minimal positions, it's for a victory, so it's a very important battle. You could say it closes as well, third and fourth. Amico would like an easy bye on the 87 of Steve Cooley. If that becomes an opportunity, that will be very much one that would like to be taken at this point in time. But we've still got laps to go. It'll be 2 to go at the line, and Amico's starting to line up this move here on Steve Cooley as they go into the left and the right. Cooley very aggressive through the corner. Amico is going to look so good on the exit though in comparison, and at the hairpin there won't be team orders, but there will be a case of I will leave you all the space in the world. You can see just how much you could have parked the entire fleet of London's red buses through that.
Yeah, and that just shows you how wide the Melbourne hairpin is. You can run wide and still have enough space to put a bunch of cars through there. But Amico up to third, and that's exactly what he wanted. Kind of left it a bit too late though. We're 2 laps to go. He's got a 3.7 gap to make up to Andreas Katz right now, who is right on the tail of Pete Newman. Big pass for the lead coming into Redgate.
Oh, and this is going to be on the exit for Pete Newman in the Pure Sims Esports outfit against the Top Gun car there of Andreas Katz. It's not going to be a move just yet, but that's the first warning sign we have seen from Andreas Katz. Old hairpin comes up next. He's not in position to attack and make this a move, but Pete Newman is being really forced to drive hard at this moment in time. Katz is giving absolutely everything here. It is the German trying to work out a way through. Looks for the inside at McLean's. Had to hit the brakes on the run up to it because there was no room at the in on that inside line. And again, parity resumes itself with a lap and a half.
Yeah, and it's just a question of how much of a good run is Andreas Katz going to get coming out of Coppice Corner. He gets that run now. He's going to have to line up right behind Newman and make a big lunge going into the S's. As that run is coming right now, is he going to make the move? The answer is not right now, but he's still right there, right on the tail of Pete Newman as they head down towards Melbourne.
right on the tail, and this is the time where the tale is told. How do you make this move? Where can you make this move? You got to lap in a little bit here, Andreas, if you want to get it done. And now here's the question: who's the pick here, Sam?
Katz has got the pace, but he just can't get the move done. Newman has been defending very well. If Newman can make that Pure Sims car as wide as possible, then this will be his for the taking. But Katz has been so aggressive on the back. It's a toss-up between either one. It's very tough to pick.
It is very tough. 0.4 of a second the gap as they cross the line. Keep an eye on the battle between Carl Hardy and Steve Hefford as well on the final lap. That one might come down to the wire as well. But Newman looking very, very good at the front of this field. Katz had one opportunity at Redgate, couldn't quite capitalise on it. And now Katz has got to really find some lines through a couple of these corners against sometimes a near pinpoint accurate Pete Newman. He's throwing everything, the kitchen sink. He might as well throw the bathroom sink on top of that as well if he wants to try and get through, because Pete Newman is rapid and he'll be trying to make sure that this race falls into line. Hefford as well, all over the back, both in the grass, himself and Carl Hardy, and Hefford's going to sneak up the inside. He's going to steal 6th place away. So that's a move done. Up to Coppice then go the leading duo at this moment in time. Katz still not quite there, needs to find a corner where there's a mistake from Pete Newman, you'd feel. He's got draft, he's got toe, but these Fogarty S's, they probably are the most important they've been all night long. How is your braking marker through the left and right? It's nice and neat from both of them, and they are very evenly matched. A car length and a half between them as they now go down to the Melbourne hairpin. It's half defended on the inside by Pete Newman, who goes very deep in and is going to try and get as much as he can out of the corner. This might be a chance for Andreas Katz, who's really trying to position that line for the final corner. On the brakes they'll go, but Pete Newman is strong, is brave, and has finally, after what has been a horrid start to the night, got something to smile about coming to the line. Pete Newman wins at Donington.
He does. A great win for Newman, and very well deserved after such a poor start to the evening for the 118. Katz going to cross the line for second. And Miko gets that podium he wanted. He's in 3rd place. And Steve Cooley, what a great result for him in P4.
That's a huge result for Steve Cooley. 2 very good races at the end of the night. Crucially as well, Dan Hunt getting through Carl Hardy for 7th place. That is some big points to get in the back pocket for Dan Hunt. He will increase his lead at the top over Roy Viveka, and that is without drop rounds by our championship calculations. So that is in the line as well. The last few finishers making their way to the line. Good battle here towards the end. Andy Littler running a little bit wide against Anthony Larson. It's going to be a drag race, but it's going to be very clearly a damaged Anthony Larson losing out to Andy Littler there. You'd say otherwise Andy Littler wouldn't necessarily have the legs in comparison. And finally, just getting another good finish in the AM category standings. It's the reason why Alan Toon in the 65 is up there fighting for that championship in the work guard car, because he can finish these races as Toon makes his way over the line. We're going to get a confirmation of result then. It is Pete Newman in the 118 Pure Sims Esports outfit who gets it done in 15 minutes 48 seconds and wins it by 8/10 over Andreas Katz, with Vincenzo Amico getting on the podium from 18th position on the grid. Keep that in mind for what a driver Miko's done there in race 4. It is Steve Cooley who gets 4th place, with Craig Jones, the pole sitter, getting a top 5 for the Troubles. Great for his amateur category hopes, with Steve Hefford in 6th and Dan Hunt, the championship leader, in 7th place. Carl Hardy will take 8th, with Peter Vangel 9th, and Roy Viveka rounding out then at the top 10, with Jamie Ayers 11th, Andy Maxwell in 12th, and then it is Steve Hansford in P13. Andy Littler, Anthony Larson, and Alan Toon were the last finishers in that race, with the retirees being Cesare Rizzo, crucially Martin Sampson's first retiree of the season, then with Mark Lutz, Charles Kellyman, and Daniel Bristow, another huge dent in his championship aspirations, with that finish not quite going according to plan. But what we are going to do is grab a driver for interviews. We're going to bring in Pete Newman into the conversation then after that race 4 victory. Pete, a very tough 3 races actually for you to start the night. And then this one, finally, one which you can say that there were no mistakes in, there were no incidents for you, and you just got on with business and got a victory. Mr. Newman, do we have a copy of you there, sir?
Oh, hello, Jake. Sorry. Yeah.
Well, I will ask my question again. It seemed like after 3 very tough races there of you having a tough time of things here at Donington, you finally got the result you wanted.
Yes. Yeah. No, it was an awesome last race, and just to have a clean battle with Andreas. I don't know. Not saying that the ones before weren't clean, but I'd always made a mistake or just come up short against him. So to come out on top, I'm really proud of that. So yeah, nice one.
Let's just talk about some of those earlier races, because of course in race 1 you had, of course, that missed grid from a disconnect just before the start. In race 2 you had the issues that went along with that spin over the old hairpin, and then race 3, through no fault of your own, you get yourself caught out on lap 1, turn 1, and somehow battle back to a podium. How important has it been for you to almost like prove to yourself that you do belong up there, you do belong at the front, and those results were always going to be there, especially after that pole position from qualifying?
Yeah, it's obviously frustrating to not get on the grid after qualifying so well. And, basically I'd gone downstairs to get myself a drink. I've got wireless headset. And normally doesn't disconnect, but of course tonight it disconnected itself. I didn't realize until I gridded the first time that iRacing audio wasn't working. I could hear people on Discord when it reconnected, but not iRacing didn't work properly. So obviously went off the grid, sorted it. Well, thought I did, went back on, and it still wasn't working. So left the grid again, and then that was that. Last person had gridded up, so the you get like a 2-minute countdown, but if everybody grids and people have left the grid who have already gridded, like myself, then obviously the race gets started. So I didn't luck out on that behalf.
Well, didn't luck out on that behalf, but hopefully when it comes to the racing next time out at Watkins Glen, you're hoping for maybe a more consistent showing?
Yeah, that would be nice if, next week, unfortunately, I'm away again with work, so I'm going to miss that. And then hopefully I'll be back in a bit more consistent manner again from then on.
Well, it will be a disappointment to not see you there, but the floor is yours, Pete. Shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank.
Well, yeah, just do all the guys at Pure Sims, all the guys at Momo, and I'm not sure what Ches and Dan's team's called, so sorry. But those guys as well, or just everybody, the whole grid, everyone who turns up for Alan's Friday Frolic, Alan, of course, and you guys.
Yeah, no worries at all there. Pete Newman, a victory at long last after a very tough race tonight. He has every reason to be happy about that. But final thoughts then, Sam, as we put Donington Park then to a close here then today, and we will be moving on forward in 1 week to exactly where we need to be, which is Watkins Glen, the classic boot layout.
Yeah, absolute chaos again tonight. Race 1 was a pretty simple affair, just a lot of hard racing, but race 3, not so much of a close affair. Obviously, Dan Bristow running away with that one, but race 2 and 4, those two were the most chaotic races, and we absolutely love it when we see chaos like that. But lots of great racing here again at Donington Park, and we just got more coming on at Watkins Glen next week. Obviously, the backstretch, as I mentioned before, after the S's and that technical back section through the boot, it's going to be absolutely hair-raising at Watkins Glen. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
I am as well. The only place you can catch it is with us here at ESPN, your esports broadcasting network. If you haven't had the chance to already, you joined in for the first time, you can like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content brought to you by the team here. But from the UK Sim Racing crew, from all the work that has been done here to get this all sorted and situated, from Sam Cooper-Bennett and myself, Jake Sperry, it has been a tough night for championship contenders. Newman had to fight all the way to get one final victory. Dan Hunt, yes, 4 finishes, but they are 4 finishes outside of the top 5. That's not what you'd call great scoring form. And the mistake for Dan Bristow means that he gets potentially a penalty. Potentially, he has to keep this score of 200 odd points. And then on top of that, Martin Sampson's had a couple of spins and incidents here and there, and it really has been costly. Who takes the initiative then as they head to Watkins Glen? The second half of the season is up in the air and is absolutely anybody's to go out there and muster.